Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Ike Live. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Little technical difficulty. We worked through it. Thanks for hanging in there. Appreciate it. Uh, we left off with Pete just a second ago. We're going to get him back on the phone. And once we get Pete back on, we're going to dial up Glenn Hughes from the ASA and really going to dive into this topic right now of with everything that's going on, should we be fishing? Should people fish? Should they not fish? Should boat ramps be closed? Should states be denying people the right to sport fish? We're gonna flush all that out with Glenn. We're also going to talk about the impact of this on the fishing community, the anglers, the businesses, the sponsors, the tournaments. I want to talk to Glenn about that. And then finally, when we get Glenn on the phone, we're going to talk about the impact this will have forever down the road after we find the vaccine and we get through this, and we will. We're gonna work through this. What's going to be the long-lasting impact of this a year or 2 years from now? How will this change the fishing industry? How will it change the sport of fishing? We're going to talk to him about that. Let's go ahead and get Pete back on the phone. I wish he was sitting here next to me on the couch. I don't like looking at him on a TV screen. I like you sitting here better, Pete.
Pete.
I like being there too. I miss the new studio. It's comfortable over there.
Yeah,
It's nice.
it's funny. It's like so many things. I think when this happened, it really puts in the perspective of, how I don't want to just say lucky, but how amazing, we had all of us had a great life. We could
Yeah.
come to the studio. We would pack the
Hmm.
studio. We'd all be sitting next to each other. We'd be kidding around. We'd be drinking beers. We can go to dinner. We can go to the bar. You can go to your favorite store. All that's changed. It's crazy, isn't it?
It.
Tournaments, Pete, gone. No more tournaments. Guiding,
I,
for the most part, gone. All these things we took for granted, it's changed in a heartbeat.
I was thrilled today because on ESPN2 they played. I think it was day one of the classic.
Mm,
So I got to I got to get a little bit of a tournament fix. Satisfied. I love that stuff, man. It's like the live shows on Major League Fishing
yeah,
and the Bassmasters. I just that's mental health for me because I'm in my office quite a bit, so I
yeah,
love watching that stuff.
yeah,
Man, do I miss it.
yeah, yeah. It's if there's for listeners and viewers right now, if you can't fish, if you can't get out and do it, I agree with you, Pete. I think watching it, I think listening to fishing podcasts, watching the Bassmasters, watching Major League Fishing, that's a great second to actually being out there. And I do want to throw it to you, Pete. Not just as a shameless plug, but for me, I've been home with a lot of extra time on my hands. I've been spending a lot of time on the internet. I've been spending a lot of time on Bash University because I have all this new time now, and I'm going out of my way now to learn stuff, to research stuff, all that stuff.
I I see you over there.
Yes.
Eh, the forum has been lit up. You and Greg DePalma have been over there on the forum as of
Yes.
late with us, and
Yep.
it's awesome to have you guys over there talking to all the guys. And of course, I'm over there, and Jason, who is our administrator, and all the guys at Bash U, Leadbeater, and they're all over there participating in the forum
Yeah.
over at Bash U, and it's a great. We're seeing a real surge in viewership there for the same reason you're talking about,
Yes.
and we're glad to have all the new people and glad to have everybody that's been with us for a long time. And we've got great programs in place for now. We recognize what's going on, and we have a 50-day standing free trial for Bash U for guys that are home. You wanted to try out our program. We're making it easy. We're making it free. You can go over and check it out, and we have a great annual discount over there too if you want to go that way. And for our existing subscribers, we continue to beat the pavements for you guys. We've got the Rapala VIP program, which is like 30-40% off baits and big, huge discounts on companies like Flambeau
Yeah.
and our other partners that we're always working on to bring to you guys. So we're trying to take care of all you guys. And but Bass U is busy. It is really busy with people, and it's great to have them over there, and it's great to see you over on forum.
Yeah. Well, I invite everybody watching Ike Live tonight. Check it out. Go to bashu.tv, go to bashuniversity.com, either one. Check out the program. Like I said, if you've got extra time on your hands, if you want to learn more, this is a great time to learn. If you can't go out and do it, you can learn a lot from being home. So I invite you to do that. But Pete, I want to jump to the next topic, and maybe we expand on this when we get Glenn on the phone. But all of a sudden, you've got this massive body of professional anglers from BASS, FLW, Major League Fishing, other circuits, bass, walleye. I mean, across the board, you've got this mass of anglers that can't tournament fish anymore, right? They're not tournament fishing, and I can't tell you how many calls I've been fielding from people saying, what do we do? We can't fish tournaments anymore. What do we do? But I've never seen in my life so many great feeds, social feeds, live feeds, and the anglers are having to change. They're having to change their normal routine of just being a tournament fisherman to doing other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you talk a little bit about that? Because for a lot of guys, I think they assume that this body of group of anglers is just, well, they're out of work, they're just going to hang around for a year and wait till next year. But we've got companies that we're working for. We're still trying to reach people, so we're having to relearn and retrain ourselves with this whole thing, like a lot of people.
It's you know what? Because I kind of made a change in my career a few years ago when I stepped down off the top tour, and I started working more on Bass University, more on guiding, um, you know, more on that type of stuff. But what I felt a massive withdrawal when that took place for me.
Yeah.
I bet it took me a couple years actually to adjust to it mentally because man, more than anybody and you're dealing with it right now. I mean, when you get out on the road, everything's alive. Time almost, I can't tell whether it stands still or it moves at a faster rate. It's one of those,
Yeah.
because Monday, you don't know Mondays from Fridays from Sundays.
Yeah.
You measure time by the cut line and, what the next pattern is. And you're so focused on that. So when you're home now, especially you, because I know how busy you like to be. I mean that's got to be a really difficult thing for someone like you to just not have that pure adrenaline rush going all the time.
Yeah, it's tough. I do like to stay busy, and now you're sort of confined, to less options of what you can do. But like I said, in saying that, the beauty I think of technology right now, maybe no better time than now to be able to access a live feed or
Yeah.
social media is, to still be able to reach people, still be able to instruct, still be able to teach, the Bass University, still be able to, hit hardcore topics. It's saving me. It really is, because if I didn't have that outlet, I think I'd be struggling even worse. I think it'd be rough for me. That plus, I never expected I had to become a school teacher, Pete. How are you dealing with that? All our kids are, of course, not in school for the rest of the year, so it's on the parents to become teachers. How are you
Yep.
handling being a school teacher?
Relearning how to add and subtract fractions right now has been tricky.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, I know you guys are doing it. We're doing. My son's 10 years old. We got a great program at his school, and yeah, we're having to step in and be teacher a little bit too, and it's been a fun and it's devastating for my son. As all the kids, they can't play with their friends,
Yeah.
and we're trying to figure out ways to do it like this, like Skype calls,
Yeah.
and he can do it on playing video games and stuff. But boy, he misses that direct interaction.
Interaction. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been tough, but yeah, it's a big adjustment for me learning how to teach. But I'm kind of having fun with it. It's a way for me to connect with my son. I don't know. We didn't really. You kind of skimmed on it a little bit, and I've had some discussions about it. Is the guide business for me is done.
Right.
It's and this is the time of year where it gets rocking.
Yeah.
Calls coming out the woodwork. People want to go fishing. It's so beautiful out right
Yeah.
now, and the Chesapeake is getting ready to explode. And I had a couple cool discussions with people. A lot of people watching know Steve Chaconis,
Yep.
the National Bass Guide Service down in the Potomac, and from smallmouth crush fame, Travis Manson.
Yep.
I was able to discuss and of course we're kind of in the same business together and what to do. Can we guide? Is it legal? Who can go? Who
Yeah.
can't?
Yeah.
And we learned a lot about it. But the as it turns out right now, on the Chesapeake Bay, you cannot pleasure boat. You cannot be. You got to practice social distancing, and you can only fish for sustenance,
Wow.
meaning catch to feed your family. So that is the scenario that we're facing as guys. If you're a charter boat captain on the Chesapeake right now, you can take out your trips so long as they stay 6 feet apart.
Okay.
But a guide like me or Steve or any of the guys, how you gonna take them in a bass boat and stay 6 feet apart the whole
Right.
time?
A lot
It's it's
tougher. A lot tougher in a bass boat. A
it's
lot tougher in you guide, and it's more instruction based. So you've got
mm-hmm.
to be you're trying to teach your client. You're up close. So that's
Yeah.
that's out.
3 feet. There's three guys in a boat, man. There's no way
Yeah.
you can't stay that far apart, and so there's that, and so I'm shut down until until further notice. Maybe May might see my first trip. Maybe June, July. I really have no idea.
Right.
And the same thing with Travis. Travis is really hopeful for his summer season, which is up on Thousand Islands. If you guys ever get a chance to do that is an amazing trip up there
Yeah.
to fish with him. But hopefully that's up and running by then. But the good part about that is, and I saw this on ASA's website, is all the government revenue that's available, and the guides are able to apply for that to help them through these next couple of months when
Right.
they can't book any trips.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of relief, a little bit of help there
Right.
for the guys,
Yeah.
and we'll see. But for right now, it's paid fishing trips are a thing of the past.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how quickly it changed. I mean, it was literally about a little over 3 weeks ago, Pete, that we were at the Bassmaster Classic, and amazing show, great event, great outdoor expo. We
Wow.
had the Bass University there. We had Ike Live there. Of course, we had the Ike Foundation there, and I mean, tens of thousands of people coming through and pictures and telling stories and shaking hands and the world it was right on the front end of all this, Pete. Everything seemed great, and then boom, in a flash, you couldn't imagine going to an event like that right now, and it's crazy how it changed so quick.
I know. I can't believe you said that. 3.5 weeks. With all we've been through, it seems like it was like months ago.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it was it's we just got that in. We absolutely just got the classic in. I'm really glad we did. I hope we I hope we didn't do a disservice or spread anything by being there. It was an amazing event. It was great to see people, and boy, now we're here 3.5 weeks later. We're on complete lockdown, and we don't even know if we're fishing. So it's nuts. But it was a great classic. I'll tell you, it was fantastic to do the Ike Live interviews and
Yeah.
all the great people we talked to. One of them that stands out in my mind is I got a chance to talk with Dion Hibden,
Awesome. Yeah.
and what he's doing now, and he's got a great new relationship with a whiskey company called Tin Cup,
Tin Cup. Yep.
and it's going to be putting the Hibdens and back out on tour in the upcoming years if we have a tour.
Right.
So that was exciting to see him. He's such a talented angler. He's won the classic and everything else, and it was fun to visit with him. But man, oh man, we got to talk to everybody down there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a great show, and I hope everybody got to tune in a little bit to some of the Ike lives that happened there, and of course we've got a bunch of BU lives that we did that I know you'll be seeing real soon. So it was a great event. Brian, when you get a chance, we don't have to do it right now, but let's get Glenn patched in here, and
Yep.
and we'll start fleshing this out a little bit. I know before we get Glenn on, Pete, I want to remind everybody watching and listening right now that amongst all this madness, we decided to launch a virtual bass tournament, Pete,
Oh.
and this has been incredible. So with everything that we're talking about, keep this in mind, Pete. We're talking a lot of doom. We're talking a lot of gloom. We're talking about social distancing, all this stuff. I'm trying to give you a figure here. I want to say at last count, which was earlier this morning, we were at let's say 450 plus participants in this virtual bass tournament.
That's so fun.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so awesome. And it's if you're watching, listening right now, you don't know about it, listen to me. It runs for an entire month, every week. So for 4 weeks, every week we're going to reset it and give new winners. It's a bass event, and we're going by length. So you have to have an official a board, measuring board, like a golden rule. And we're going for the longest bass and then the longest 3 bass each week, and we'll reset it. And we're giving away some amazing prizes. But here is the silver lining. There's 2 of them. The one is you got to try and beat me first, Pete, because I'm fishing them too, right? So I'm throwing the challenge out to a lot of people to try to beat me. And I'm pacing myself. I haven't even fished yet for this event. I'm going to be fishing over the next 3 or 4 days, and I'm going to try to enter some really big ones to try to win this thing in the Northern Division. There's 2 divisions, Northern and Southern.
You're screwed.
Maybe. I don't know. But
The guys on the Great Lakes are pounding them right now.
they're probably, but that's okay. But here's the other thing, Pete. It's only $20 to enter, and that $20, every penny of that $20, it's gone to the Ike Foundation. And because times are crazy right now and kids can't actually fish in groups, our normal routine, we're donating all that money to kids that have sort of been displaced by this whole COVID thing. So a lot of kids, you look at our kids, Pete, we're lucky, right? But there's a lot of kids out there that, they're not getting lunches now because they're not in school, right? Their parents aren't working. It's hard to put dinner on the table. So all that money's gone to kids that are struggling right now because of what's happening. So if you're watching right now, please check it out. If you've got a place that you can fun fish, again, we're not asking you to get in a boat with 30 people. This is a solo event. Follow the right practices, but you can get out and do it, right? If state and federal guidelines allow you to do it, we invite you to do it. And you can go to the IkeFoundation.org. You can go to MikeIkenelli.com. Of course, all my social feeds will be listing some stuff too. But I wanted to mention that, Pete, that we launched that program. In all this doom and gloom and absence of tournaments, you still have a way to fish a little tournament. Still have a way to compete. So it's kind of cool.
That's a really cool and fun thing. And I was really looking forward to crushing you on it because the we have a golf course right here in my neighborhood, and
Wow, they tend to be really good
I
underfished,
know
big bass.
I never fished them, so I was really, I was going to just kill it, figuring, they was going to be great.
Yeah.
And I in 3 ponds I have yet to catch a bass. So
Wow.
I,
You might. I don't know. Are you throwing the wrong bait? Are you holding your
I
jaw wrong, or what are you doing?
I might be out of practice. I don't know, but no, the ponds there, they just aren't that good. So I've got to find another resource to get after you with. But well, what a fun idea! It's exciting to see so many people into it, and what a great thing you're doing to for the kids. I know I saw some reporting over in Philadelphia. They were making lunches, 2 meals a day available to the kids, because the kids that would normally get lunch at school and even breakfast at school didn't
Yeah.
have it now. And that's great that you're doing that with that funding, man.
Well,
Congrats on that.
as we're talking, Pete, I'm going to give you an update real quick. We're using a really cool app, a really cool program to track it. It's a lot like a kayak event. We're going by length. You upload everything on your phone, and let's see here. I'm going to give you an update. We're using a Fish Donkey, and on Fish Donkey right now, when I look at it, currently for big fish in the Northern Division, we have a 23-incher, Pete, caught by Ron Sanchez Jr. In second is a 21.5 fish, and in third is a 20.75. That 23-incher, Pete, you want to guess on the weight of that thing? Saying 5, 6 pounds? What do you think?
I was going to guess 8 pounds.
8 pounds. Okay. That could be. That could be.
I don't know. I'm not used to dealing with inch measurements as it relates to poundage, but
Yeah.
when you got a big fish like that its tail sails off the end of your most measuring boards,
Yeah.
that's got to be a big one. What state was that?
So that is, let me see if I can tell you here. That is the Northern Division. When I click on Ron, oh my God. So Ron actually uploaded a picture of the fish laying on the board and a picture of him holding it. I can tell you, Pete, that I'm pretty sure that's a 7 or 8 pounder. I can't be
Wow.
positive, but looking at this picture, let me see. I can't get Ron's information on what state he's in, but it's a largemouth, okay? It's a largemouth bass. And then listen to this. In the Southern Division, Pete, we have Scott Wald with a 24.75 in first. We have Roy Levery in second with a 23-incher. And in third is Steve Delia with a 22.5. So some big fish out of the Southern Division. The 24.75 that Scott caught, it is without a doubt a 9 or 10 pounder, Pete. I'm looking at the picture. 100%.
Dude, let me tell you something. That's nothing. I checked it yesterday. Our very own Gogo Gomez.
Yeah.
He was leading unofficially
Yeah.
with a 1,575 incher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
How about that?
He's not good with decimal points.
No.
But he did have the lead yesterday.
Shout
Shout out to Gogo with that.
Shout out to Go before he was disqualified.
With that 1,500 incher.
Yeah, he had the lead. It was a shark, but it's okay. Pretty cool.
What
cool. to
what
see
are
all
the
the
North
response
and
for that.
South divisions? Where'd you draw that split?
So I don't quote me 100%, Pete, but I believe the line was Virginia. I believe the line was Virginia. So from Maryland up is the Northern Division. I think that line went pretty much across the country till it got to California, and then we put California and everything below that line to Virginia in the Southern Division. And Canada is also included. It's the United States and Canada. And Canada is in the Northern Division as well. So all our Canadian friends watching, you can enter this tournament as well. Catch a big old smallmouth, put it in there, have a chance to win.
Is it just biggest fish or what other prizes?
Yeah, there's 2 parts to it. So, and again, it resets every week. So the longest single fish, and then the longest combined 3 bass total in inches. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so 3 fish limit and your biggest fish. So I think I have a shot, Pete. I don't know. I'm telling you, I feel like I can compete in this event.
Well, you Lake X has some big ones, but yeah, I mean, you can go out there and get 3 big ones for sure.
I mean, I'm thinking about between Lake X, think about some of the local public lakes, Pete, that are
Pummeled.
really, really good.
Every one of them's pummeled.
No, I don't believe that. Parvin, I
Pummeled.
believe, has some giants in it.
Yeah.
Davis Mill, I believe, has some
They got some big ones.
some absolute giants
Absolutely.
in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Alloway, I think, could kick out a big one. So there's
You
a
gotta
lot
let
of
Becky's got to let you out of the house.
Beck's got to let me out. Yeah, but if I can get out, I have a chance to win this.
I know that's some guys that are not employed right now. As bad as that is, boy, they got a huge advantage if they're not working or not able to work right now.
Yeah,
Man, they could fish 7 days a week.
a lot of time to try to win that prize. Brian, you want to get Glenn on?
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Pete, hang in there for a second. I'm gonna put you on mute, and Mike, you sing a song.
Okay, I'll sing a song. Let me thank everybody again for watching. You're watching a brand new Ike Live. First one we've had back since the Bassmaster Classic. It's good to be back with everybody. Just in a second here, we're going to get Glenn Hughes on the phone. Glenn is the president of the ASA. And, of course, we had to get Glenn on first to talk about how everything that's gone on, how this virus situation is not just affecting the world, but how it's affecting the sport that we love, how it's affecting sport fishing, how it's affecting people's livelihood in the profession, and recreational anglers too. It's affecting everybody. So great guy to get on to get his insight on what's going on right now with sport fishing in relationship to COVID. I think we've got him. We got him on the phone here, Brian. We're close to it.
Yes, we do.
Okay. I think we've got him joining us via Skype. We're going to find out where he's at. I think he's home. Is Mr. Glenn Hughes, president of the ASA. Glenn, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Mike, and of course Pete. I really appreciate you guys. You're engaging. You get me fired up. You get a lot of people fired up, and as I told Brian earlier, you're 47 going on 17, and I'm 56 going on 16 right now.
Yes.
Because I love fishing and I love everything about fishing, and so I appreciate what you guys do, and we appreciate you teaching anglers how to fish through Bass University, and also the support of our Pitch It campaign as well, and making sure people are good stewards of our waters.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And Glenn, I know you're not just the president of the ASA. I know you're actually a fish head too. You breathe it, you sleep it, you eat it, just like we all do. I want to jump right into it, Glenn. This is. I keep hearing the term unprecedented times, and it is. It's unprecedented. It's strange. It's weird. It's crazy. It's scary, all rolled up into one. But I want to jump right into how all this is affecting fishing, because the best gauge for me, Glenn, is when I make a post. And I'll make a post of me fishing. I make a post, and I'm literally in my kayak by myself out back here, and I'll make a post, and it seems like to me I've get about 70-30 seems like the response thus far. And I have people that love the fact that I'm out fishing, that I love the fact that I'm outside engaging in the sport that I love, practicing social distancing, doing the right things. But I get about 30%. It seems like that number's growing every day that say, Mike, you need to stay in. You need to stay home. They need to shut down fishing. Why are you out? You shouldn't be engaging in sport fishing right now. You shouldn't be doing it. Where do you fall on this, Glenn? What's your mindset on how everything that's happening, and how it's affecting the sport that we love?
Sure. So, like you, I haven't been out on the water for a couple hours now. I wasn't catching striped bass here in Maryland because you can't catch striped bass in the month of April right now. You can't even target them. So I didn't catch a couple of stripers earlier today. I did not.
Oops.
But and yesterday I might not have caught fish that you're not supposed to target because I didn't keep them to eat them. but I'm all in on fishing all the time. If you don't mind, I would like to back up. I appreciate
Yeah.
what you said earlier, and you've said it a few times now. Really mentioning the doctors and nurses. A real shout out to them.
Yeah.
They're on the front lines. My wife is a beautiful wife of 28 years. Beth is an emergency department nurse. She's working tonight in Annapolis, and gosh, she's such an amazing person, and right there working the front lines. I'm very proud of her, and I'm also very worried about her well-being. So we need them to stay safe.
Absolutely. So important. I mean, it's a crazy time, and they're the ones that are really, really dealing with this all the time. So we appreciate it for sure.
So back to what you were saying. It's still surreal, right? Like we said, we were all at the Classic. We were still shaking hands, and there was a few elbows and a few foot taps and things, but we really didn't know what we were headed into for these next 4 weeks. And I would travel that following week as well. Was at what's called the North American, hanging out with 600 members of different state and federal agencies, combination of all 50 states represented. Only agency that really wasn't represented was the Department of Agriculture and the Forest Service, because they'd finally pulled out right then and there. And we did practice more social distancing in terms of the handshakes and all. But these states want us to go fishing, except for right now, the state of Washington and South Carolina. And I think that proper, what we call responsible recreation. We've created a new hashtag, hashtag responsible recreation. I also think fish responsibly works. That we can be on the water. They say we can go for a walk, we can go for a jog, we can ride our bikes. Well, then we can also fish responsibly, keeping our social distance and not getting in anybody's way.
Yeah. It's again, we try to be very open-minded here on this show, but it's hard for me to wrap my hands around why a state like Washington, why South Carolina are putting these big, broad bans on the sport. Glenn, I can tell you just locally, and Pete will back me up on this, a lot of our ramps are closed here, right? So the state of New Jersey, I don't believe, has put any rules against fishing out there. But
right.
But Pete, we've got Delaware River ramps closed. We have state park ramps that are closed. And it's really deterring a lot of people from going out and engaging in the sport.
It's true.
I was talking with Chris Smith of the DEP for New Jersey, and they're encouraging fishing. They opened up the trout season a couple weeks early to try to lessen the pressure on opening day, so that we could get some social distancing involved with that program. As of right now, the state parks are open, but the city ramps are all closed. Like, depending on the city, they've closed some things down. But Glenn, it seems like especially after listening to you, like, fishing can be a very responsible recreation. But I think what's happening are us as fishermen, we're getting grouped in with the pleasure boaters. So in order to keep that social craze, like from spring break party scenes happening and beach or boats beaching themselves and having parties, in order to shut down that activity, are the fishermen getting grouped in with that bunch?
Well, not only the fishermen, but I love the pleasure boating market as well. And again, it's a few bad apples that have spoiled it for a lot of other folks. If I go to a boat ramp that's open, I'm not really getting within 6 feet of folks, and I'm not really using their facilities either. And I think that we can boat ramps responsibly just as well. And so don't have the parties on those islands. Don't have crowds on the beaches. Maintain your distances. Be smart. And I think that the boaters should be able to participate just as well. They're partners with us in this, and love having. We have a little saying here in our industry with the boating industry. We go together like peanut butter and jelly. You don't have to fish from a boat by any means, but at the same time, it sure is enjoyable. So we're getting lumped in, responsible boaters are getting lumped in, and that's not right. So and that's part of what we're trying to do is make that known. So on our website at keepamericafishing.org, as well as asafishing.org, we've got a map that has an interactive connection to link to each state, and it's a letter that we've written to each governor to make sure that they know that fishing is important to their state. So in New Jersey, for example, letter to your governor reminds them that you have almost 1 million anglers in New Jersey that spend almost $1 billion in New Jersey, and it creates more than 7,500 jobs. And so that's important on the economic side of it. And then on the other side of it is the health and well-being of folks. We think they have an opportunity to enjoy themselves outside, and anglers shouldn't be shut down. Now, I think where it gets confusing for a lot of folks is, and you can also find some of this information on our website, is that all ramps are not owned by the same folks. You've got Army Corps of Engineer ramps, you've got national parks and state park ramps, you've got Fish and Wildlife or the state DNR's ramps. And so you really don't know, and you almost have to look if your local ramp is closed. It doesn't mean that another ramp isn't open, because they're not all owned by the same folks.
Yeah.
Or run by the same folks.
Yeah. I want to.
Yeah, that makes.
You go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna say that makes a lot of sense, because we're seeing that, and everybody's getting a lot of chatter. Is that ramp open? Is this ramp open? And and the Chesapeake, I work on the Chesapeake, so I guide and I teach down there, and it was interesting to see that you weren't catching any stripers today or recently down there. But
I was targeting catfish, and I was targeting white perch.
Right. White perch bites.
Well, as guides, that's what we're all wrestling with it, because two of my good buddies, and I don't know if you heard us talking about it before you came on, but we're trying to figure out whether or not we can take people out fishing, and the rules seem to say no to us.
Well, of course, each state's different. And so I appreciate the president when he talks about when people are trying to force him to say that they have to make these overreaching across all 50 states. We're in a republic, and it's a beautiful thing. And the governor should be able to make that determination with good input from their constituents. And so in state of Maryland right now, we've got our own issues regarding striped bass. We don't need to dwell on it too long, but as you know as well as I do, Pete, you're not allowed to target, not even catch and release striped bass through the month of April. Very disappointing to me. I'm working closely with the DNR there, and so we're trying to make sure that anglers have as much opportunities to catch fish, striped bass specifically, for the rest of the summer.
Well, and I saw that. I was reading some of the work that you're doing down there, and I think it's great for anglers to know the work that the ASA is doing. You guys are actively out there, working on behalf of the angler. In this case, the Chesapeake, where I was reading where the charter boat people have the ability to keep 2 striped bass, where your regular leisure angler only keeps 1, and it's an unfair distribution there. And you guys fight stuff like that for us.
We do. If I can back up for a second. So American Sport Fishing Association, our responsibility and mission is to look out for the interests of the sport fishing industry and the entire recreational fishing community. So we do look at things nationally a lot of the time, but we also go pretty deep into some of the government affairs issues around the country. We want clean water, we want sustainable, abundant fisheries, and we want access to those fish. And you might have great fisheries, but if you don't have access to them, then we can't fish, and you can't build an economy on it. So besides those 3 things, if we're able to do those things, and we're able to help support increasing participation and also support this trade and commerce side of it, if we're doing all those things right, then we've got a good economy. And if we have happy anglers and we have happy manufacturers, then that makes me happy. But right now, our manufacturers are not happy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know, we deal closely with some of our manufacturers, and we're doing what we can as people out there. We're trying to help these companies and work extra hard. I know especially guys like Mike and us at the Bass University, we're ramping up our efforts to try to help support these guys because we know the manufacturers are going through a pretty tough time right now, and we're doing what we can.
It's
yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Again, the way the conversation's changed over the last 4 weeks is rather remarkable, and we don't want to really air dirty laundry as far as the trade side. At the same time, anglers need to know, as you've stated earlier tonight, keep buying product, keep buying the rods and reels and lines and lures that you want, and marine electronics and tackle bags and sunglasses and hats and shirts and hey, throw in a boat and motor while you're at it. But these manufacturers, they were having great years. They were really doing well through January and February. Some would say record winners, as a matter of fact. And come the second week of March, it's shut down. And so, you know, there's pockets and they're still fishing around the country. A lot of retailers, you can't go in, they're shut down. A percentage of a large percentage of them are shut down at this point, just doing some form of e-commerce business. The manufacturers in a lot of different areas are not able to produce product or distribute product right now. It's really tough on the bottom line when in this season, the best season of the year, March, April, May into June, and they can't produce or ship product. So we need folks to get out there and buy the product that's in the retail stores now, and buy it now, buy it more, buy it often. These guys need the help for sure.
Yeah, they do.
Well, Tackle Warehouse. I know they're hustling and doing what they can out there. And I was trying to buy some red chatterbaits and they're sold out. So there are some things that are really flying off the shelves.
Try the blue chatterbaits there, Pete.
The blue chatterbaits?
Blue, green, pink, chartreuse. Pick another.
Pick another color.
I want to keep talking about this business thing because the reality of it is and it's loud and clear. You know, we're all going to try to support these companies. We're going to try to support the companies that are in this business that we love. But Glenn, the reality of it is a lot of these companies aren't going to make it out of this. You know, the mom and pop shops are going to be hurt. A lot of the manufacturers are going to be hurt. They're not going to come out on the other side of this. What happens when all this is over? If it's 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, what happens? Is there a reset button? Is there what happens to the mom and pops that can't keep going? What's next for these guys?
Great question. And part of it is, how long does this go on? How long is this? It's going to get worse the next couple of weeks. I think we all agree with that. How fast does the curve come back down? I think a couple of $1 trillion into the economy helps people get through these next 6 to 8 weeks. And hopefully we'll be able to get outdoors sooner than later. But these are things that really are dependent upon being able to get past this virus sooner than later so that we can participate at the level that we want and that the retail stores are open. And I would say, you know, on top of all this, as good as those sales were, a lot of these manufacturers haven't been paid on those sales yet because of a combination of how the product is distributed and when the payments come. And when they're asked to have extended terms and they haven't received that money, it's that much more difficult for them right now. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of getting out there and buying some fishing tackle to help these guys get over that hump. Like you said, though, it's really hard to say what's going to happen with some of the large or small companies. How much are they leveraged at this point? The banks are supposed to be working with them, and that can be confusing as well. Yeah. I got to touch on what we have each year. I talked to Brian about earlier is, our main revenue stream is the ICAST show in July in Orlando. Yeah. And if you're like me, it's kid in a candy store. It's favorite week of the year. Yes. I've been going to the show for 30 years. Yeah. And I can't get enough of that show. I wish it was longer, never enough time, never get to see everybody that we want to see. And that show right now is open for business. And we have every intention of the show happening, but it's going to be impacted by this, of course. And the manufacturers are struggling right now deciding what they're doing as far as their staffing, as far as their investments. and really how much money can they spend even this summer. So
Yeah.
we wish them the best. We're going to work hard for them, and I think it's going to be a great time to get together in Orlando in July and bring this group together, network, make sure that not only retailers and manufacturers get together, but the media gets there and the media starts talking about the new products again. And it really fires up the audience of anglers to make sure they get out on the water, not only to fish, but buy more product.
Yeah, well, I hope, I personally hope we're through all this and we get to go to ICAST. I told Brian earlier, I've been at every one since 1998.
Woo.
I've been at every ICAST, so I've got a long run there too, and I hope it happens. But the reality of it scares me because when you see major events in the mainstream world, like the Olympics, Wimbledon, um, all of pro golf, pro football, pro baseball, canceling for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It makes me wary. It makes me wary that we're going to get to see it happen, and I hope we do, but I'm unsure if we will.
It's exhausting. It's from dawn to dusk and beyond. Of course, it's this conversation goes on. I've worked very closely with a great team at our office. I have a group of board that work with me, and I talk to many of the other members as well, and fully understand the situation that they're in right now. And I'll mention on our side, we're not in a position right now that we have to make a decision.
Right.
The Outdoor Retailer show was just canceled this week. That's about 3 or 4 weeks before our show. It's April 5th. We're looking for people to have some patience and some understanding. But we're going to try to be transparent, share with them as much information as we can, and they're going to need to make decisions right now. If you're making a decision, try to make a decision based on the show going on. If for some reason, God forbid, that the show has to be postponed, then we'll let you know that then as well. And so, but let's get to the other side of this and talk again in early May, and then really see what kind of position we're in, because April 5th is not a good time to make that call.
Right.
I think early May is a chance to have people have a little bit better idea of where they are and what we're looking at for the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glenn, would you guys consider moving the ICAST dates to the fall or a different time, or if you decided it would be the following year?
We're looking at all contingencies. The situation with, say, the Orange County Convention Center, for example, we've been there. This would be the 7th year in a row, I believe, and pretty much around that same week of July each year. There was time then when we moved in. Really, the Orange County Convention Center is incredibly busy the fall through the spring. And you think about all the shows that are being canceled right now in March, April, and May, and they're either canceling or they're looking for dates this fall. And I've had a number of conversations with our board and with other members, and there's a lot of other things that take place in the fall for these guys, a lot of other wholesaler shows. And so just moving into the fall is not necessarily the answer. And at the same time, we've been told by our friends at the Orange County Convention Center that a show our size, there's not necessarily even a time period available right now that could fit us. That facility's large, but they've got 2, 3, 4 shows going on at the same time, all fall and all winter long.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. I don't want to miss an ICAST. I want to be at another one this year. Glenn, let's talk about the future a little bit, because we want to. I think we want to all believe we're going to get through this. We will, hopefully sooner than later, right? Best case scenario, all this is we've got a vaccine. Things are turned around. By June, we're back in the swing of things. The world's back in its normal flow. But I want to talk about the future, because it's hard to imagine for me that after this, life in any walk of life will be the same. Certainly won't be the same, I don't think, in fishing, in sport fishing. Two-part question for you, Glenn. First one is, on the other side of this, will it be as bad as it was for the industry, say, in 2008, 2009? Will it be that bad? Will it be worse? And then the second part of that question, is how long before things get back to normal? How long before things get back on track?
Wow. Oh, those are easy questions. Thank you, Ike. I appreciate that. I got this right here for you. Um, Again, so first and foremost, it's going to be the timing of us getting over this virus at this time, and how soon we can do that, and if we can have a normal summer. Um, Chances are we won't have a normal summer, and so I believe that our industry is going to be worse off than it was in 2008. It caught us so much by surprise. It's devastating to think that the business might have slowed down a lot back in 2008, but we were open and you were
Yeah.
allowed to fish, and people did go fishing, as we used to say. In good times we go fishing, and in bad times we go fishing.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed 25 years in the media business, and the fishing business stayed fairly consistent throughout that time. And now we've got 50 million anglers out there. We've got that fish at least once a year. And when you think about how many people that is across this country, and the desires to continue to do that with family and friends, I think that fishing is going to continue and be very strong as far as people getting out on the water. Now, as far as the industry is concerned, it's really how long does this period of time take? The month of April, the month of May, how much of the business is going to be impacted by that?
Yeah.
If they can't survive these first 2 months, then that's going to be the answer for those folks. I think anybody that can survive these next 2 months are going to do pretty well coming out of it come next fall and into next spring. Now, again, it's still up in the air as far as when we get past this. And I'm not a doctor, but I listen to my wife every day, and she can tell me more and more, and she's hopeful as well. But at the same time, we've got to get past it. So I think that the industry has been doing very well. It's strong. It's got some deep roots. We've got a great database, I think, of retailers. I think we've seen a real resurgence of the local retailer. If they can get through this time, I think the local retailer's been stronger than they've been in a long time. And so we had a nice run from 2012 to 2020 and into this winter. And I think that next spring we're going to come out pretty strong again as well.
Good, good. And here's the other flip side to this, Pete. And back me up on this, Pete. It's not all negative. It's not all doom and gloom, right? Because when you look at this, and maybe this is just me, but when I look at this, I see fishing as a relief to all this, right? As an escape to everything that's gone on. I see it as, a sport that might get picked up by a lot of new people on the backside of this, right? Somebody that doesn't want to be around 1,000 people, in a different kind of sporting event. Fishing is a great sport because it is solitary. You can enjoy it by yourself or with your children. You don't need a lot of people. I honestly think that on the backside of this, a lot of new people will pick up the sport. Do you agree with that, Pete? What do you think?
Well, I do. And I bring it back to a pretty cool quote from a guy you guys all know, Ray Scott, said this. When the economy is going through some sticky spots, fishing participation goes up. It always does, and I think it's for the for the reasons that you said. It's in fishing can be done as inexpensively as anything out there to participate in. I mean, for a limited budget, you can get out and fish, and you can do it all the time, and you can, of course, take it as far as you want to go, like we have. So, I think these times are going to be a great time for people to get out, and like I think you're right too, Mike. We're seeing new people all the time getting interested in Bass University and getting interested in learning and signing up for the program, and we're seeing a lot of that right now. But and I'm
Can I make a comment on that, Pete?
Yeah, sure, please.
So we work closely with an organization called the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, RBFF, and their website is takemefishing.org. And really, they're the impetus behind getting new folks out on the water. We're talking about they're doing the hard job of trying to reach the not the avid anglers, but those new anglers, and therefore they're focused on women, they're focused on kids, they're focused on multicultural families, and they've done a great job. And we've watched fishing participation grow from 45 to 50 million over the last 5-6 years, and we still have goals to get to 60 million anglers. And so, like you said, I think this is a chance for new folks to get out and try it, and have some time with the families, are looking for things to do, and getting out on the water. What could be better than that?
Yeah. Nothing could be better than that. And, well, I keep trying to find ways to go myself. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing. And I hear, the things that you're saying, which is, you're telling us as anglers that, continue to support those products, buy those products, support all those companies that keep you all fishing. Go fishing where it's safe, and it's you're allowed to participate in it. Do it safely and do that. What else as anglers can we do to support the ASA? We're good stewards of the environment. We want to help. What can we do to help?
I appreciate that. And so again, I'll say that ASA is a trade organization for the sport fishing industry, and that's really the manufacturers, the retailers, the media, the associations that work to make sure we have good conservation. So from an angler standpoint, it's being conservationists and getting out on the water and buying product. And so that's the best. And make sure, let's share social ideas that are positive, that are conservation minded, that are responsible. So like I said before, hashtag responsible recreation and fish responsibly, and make sure you're staying up to date with those terms and changes that are happening at each state, so that you are not getting in trouble, but you are fishing responsibly. So as much as anything, support your local retailers, support the retailers that have taken care of you over the years, and make sure, everybody needs another rod, reel, line, or lure. We know that.
Of course.
And this is the perfect time to get it. This is the perfect time.
It is.
I know I'm doing it. I'm home. I'm going through my tackle.
I just broke a rod today. I need the rod.
What was that?
I just broke another rod today. I only have about 30. I got to get another.
Right.
They have to be replaced immediately, and I think we're all doing that. I'm out in my garage all the time working on my tackle, putting orders together, and I'm stocking up. So I'm going to try to do my part there. But are you, Glenn? Are you going to be entering into Ike's fishing contest out there on weighing catfish in on the Chesapeake or something?
Not stripers, but catfish.
It's. I have not. I've been in Maryland for 6 years now, and we have an office outside of D.C. in Alexandria, Virginia, and so I have not I was down in Florida for a long time, and I haven't really figured out the bass fishing areas. Although my friend Alan Luck has certainly been talking and showing off some big bass in southern Virginia, and so I might need to get down there and jump on his old boat. But otherwise. To me, like you guys, I think it doesn't have to be a big fish. I just love catching fish. I love fishing, big or small, new species, new records for myself. I just got my largest striped bass in March at 46 inches. That was awesome. Loved it. Shout out to my buddy Keith Frazier on that at All Tackle. And that was just 2 weeks ago while we could still fish for him. And so, gosh, I'll never forget it, never forget it for sure. And at some point we still talk about Philly sports. I'm a Philly boy, right?
I know that.
I did not know that.
Born and raised.
Man, are you still celebrating the Super Bowl like I am?
All right. Can you see this? This is a shout out to my son Connor and his future bride Emily. Can you guys see this?
Look at that.
Philly special. Hell yeah.
Philly.
Philly.
My future daughter-in-law Emily made this Philly special pillow for me for
That's
Christmas.
awesome.
So how cool is that?
That's
That
really
is
cool.
very cool.
And
awesome.
so I've got the paraphernalia, and the last 2 seasons have not been so good, but we'll never forget it. I just needed one. I'm a happy guy, you know. I've been frustrated for a long time, and so now we've got one, and people can just leave us alone.
That's right.
But
I agree. I think it was awesome, and I'm such a Phillies fan that I was even happy to see Andy Reid win this year.
I was happy for Andy Reid as well. He was a good coach. He is a good coach, and I don't want to say he didn't. It was probably time for him to go when he left Philadelphia, but I'm happy for him and that team. Anybody but the Patriots, right?
I know.
And the Cowboys.
That
How
guy's
many
gonna be
Cowboy fans on right now? So
Probably.
yeah, Philadelphia is important to me. The Philly sports were important to me. I have a twin brother, Keith, who played pro ball for the Phillies,
Oh wow.
and I grew up fishing in the Poconos of Pennsylvania. My dad still lives in the house that we bought 55 years ago,
Wow.
and he's going to celebrate his 92nd birthday this year
All right.
or this week, and he introduced me to fishing probably when I was 2 years old. So God love that man.
Right on, man.
Right on.
That is good stuff.
Right on. That's good stuff. Well, Glenn, I appreciate you coming on the show and helping us flesh this out. You know, a lot of people watching and listening right now. They want to keep fishing. So I think what they heard tonight is keep fishing. As long as you're following, you know, social distancing, you're following state and federal guidelines, go fishing. Keep enjoying the sport you love. Keep buying stuff. You know, just keep going. And I appreciate your perspective on it. Appreciate all the work you guys are doing to help
Thanks.
keep everything flowing. It's really, really important. So we appreciate what you're doing.
It's our pleasure. We're passionate about it, and so we appreciate what you're doing as well. And everybody just get out and go fish responsibly.
There you have it. Glenn Hughes, everybody. Glenn, stay safe. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks,
Glenn.
There, guys.
Thank you, Glenn.
That's awesome. That's a good perspective, Brian, because we were talking earlier, and Pete, if you're still listening, Brian and I were talking earlier about how it seems ridiculous that, you know, people are saying you can't fish, and they're almost like restricting you to go out and enjoy this. Again, as long as you're following the guidelines, right? It's ridiculous. So it's good to hear, Glenn say it's, go
I
fishing.
know our buddy the Riz went out twice. Found 2 closed boat ramps yesterday.
Wow, in New
Yep.
Jersey.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
And I think they're individual towns closing their ramps.
Closing the ramps.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mercer and Carnegie, I think he said.
Wow.
So they're probably run by the towns.
Right.
I just don't get it. It's a piece of concrete. It's not mechanical. There's nothing to operate. There's no reason for anybody to be there. How do you close something that
Yeah.
it's an inanimate object?
Yeah.
Just let it be. Let people enjoy the outdoors. It's like closing a tree. I
Yeah.
just don't get it.
I saw some of the posting, Brian and Pete, of the guys that said, don't do this. Stay home. Don't, even with my tournament, we had people posting saying, don't do this. Don't hold a tournament. But some of the people posting about the ramp closures said, what if, and I don't think this is as much in South Jersey with small boats, but what if, somebody gets hurt out there, right? There's not as much personnel, right? What if, 2 boats collide, or what, there's just not as much emergency staff and personnel out there right now. That's one reason to close the ramps. And I kind of get that. I could see that point.
I don't live my life like that. I don't identify with that line of thinking that always the worst case scenario. I just don't.
Right.
So I don't know. I struggle with that. I
Right.
mean, what if anything?
Right. That's
What
true.
if the plane's engine falls off and falls on your house?
That's true.
I mean,
Could
come
happen
on.
right now.
Well, what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a lot of the PSAs from celebrities, from doctors and nurses, and the messaging that I'm hearing a lot. Matthew McConaughey did one just recently, and it's our our weapon to fight this enemy is to stay at home. That's our weapon, and that messaging is being pushed and pushed. For a lot of the reasons that you're talking about, but to slow it down, to give the doctors and nurses a chance to catch up,
right,
to find a solution,
right,
to not overwhelm the hospitals.
I agree with that. But there's no difference between staying at home and isolation.
Well, it depends on the amount of people that stay at home and the amount of people that don't stay at home.
Yeah.
And that's what these are tough decisions, cities and boat ramps have got to make, is our boat ramp going to be an area that people can gather, and
right.
Are we doing a disservice by allowing that?
I went to Home Depot yesterday.
I can tell you there's craziness going on. Let me tell you this story about the park across the street from my house. We have a park over there. They stock with trout. Well, they didn't stock it this year because the park was closed. Right, the town of that I live in closed it, and they had all the barrels and the ribbon and the orange and all those, and people would come out every single weekend and move the barrels and swamp the park, and they'd be on the jungle gyms, they'd be walking around the lake, and just engaging in what would be normal behavior, just ignoring it.
Yeah.
So like Glenn said this too, it's like, they're making decisions on people that don't engage in good behavior, and I think that's the problem that we have, is that there's a sect of our population that is just going to ignore the rules and do what they want to do. So that's why some of these rules have been put in place. I like I said, my opinion on it is fluid. It's changing by the day.
And it should. It should. As new information comes forward, you should, recalculate and figure out what's right. I went to Home Depot yesterday. I had to.
Home Depot.
I have a rental property. The toilet had a problem. I had to change the flapper valve, whatever, on the toilet. I needed a part. I needed to be there. The parking lot was packed.
Yeah.
They had all the doors closed except for one. So they're funneling people into one door instead of spreading them across 3 doors, which I was like, all right, whatever. I don't get that. But there was a line.
Yeah.
All these people standing in a line in close proximity.
Great.
I was like, that didn't make sense to me. I left there, might have cursed, went to Lowe's, walked right in, never got near anybody, got what I needed, and checked out.
Huh.
So I don't know, whatever. I'm not a Lowe's fan, but in this situation, they certainly come out looking better. But I just don't get closing a boat ramp. If somebody wants to go out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But whatever. Some of it, I think, is government overreach.
How about some rules on boat ramp usage? Like, you can only have one person per boat, or keep making some rules that people would have to follow. But you know how it is, that people would still break them.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm conflicted with it, and I'm in a situation. A lot of people watching this show are probably like me, and I'm, in my opinion, a high risk in this scenario. I have an inflammatory disease that shows up in my respiratory tract, and I'm one of those high risk people, and a lot of people are probably watching this, that are in that category. So I'm tend to erring on the side of caution as hard as I can, and I'm opting to, man, I try to stay as far away from people as I can to do my part to protect myself, but I also want to do that part to protect others. I wouldn't want to spread anything to anybody. So I'm fishing. I'm still fishing. I'm finding ponds out of the way. I'm going out a couple times a week, and I'm finding some places to fish. So I'm continuing to fish in this environment right now.
I love it. All right.
I got a few comments, Mike.
Oh, you got some comments.
All right. So
what do you got?
Just a few things that come through. Dylan says, I've never seen so many shore anglers in my life out here in California.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which I think we can all attest to. The parks have never been fuller with people. Nobody's got work. Everybody's home.
Right.
People are spending a lot more time with their families from what I'm seeing right now. And people are getting outside.
Right.
Again, I think as long as you're doing it responsibly, keeping your distance, I think it's a good thing. I think there's some positives that are going to come
Yeah,
from
there's a few
this deal.
positives. There's definitely a few positives.
Once we get
yeah.
through this and get on
Right.
the other side, I think there's going to be some positives. I see a lot more family time from a lot of people. Chad in Canada says they can close launch. They can close launches if they aren't public or public. Don't matter. My kayak can be dragged anywhere. Big Paulie. Big Paulie. Oh, this was a question when Glenn was on. Could tackle companies produce masks, gloves, etc.?
I did see that. I saw something on, was it Bass Fan yesterday, that one of the, was it Pradco, is manufacturing something in the medical industry that was needed. I can't
Yum is
remember what
making
it
hand
was.
sanitizer right now.
Is that what it was?
That's what Big Paulie says.
Pradco, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Well done, Pradco. Well done.
Yeah.
And
It's the
Patrick,
first thing
What-
Pradco's
what-
ever done right.
oh,
I got a question.
Shut
What about our face shields that we have? I wonder.
Safe
you know,
face?
Yeah. Well,
You talking about
I'm
buffs?
the Bass University. Everybody's using
Or
the
you talking
face
about the
shields.
buffs?
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting because about 2 weeks ago they said the buffs, the whatever you call them, don't do anything, and then the government agency came out and said to wear them, start wearing them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
really?
Oh yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
What I've seen is when you wear them, that you should have at least 2 layers. So you should wear 2 of them, and it protects you
Jesus.
from
From
contaminating somebody else, but it doesn't protect somebody else from contaminating you. So you're basically doing it to protect society by
Well,
wearing.
I saw a post from Swindle where he cut Leanne's bra
Nice.
and he had the bra cup over his mouth and nose.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's 2 of them. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's auctioning the other.
Oh, he might.
mask
Maybe he's
off.
selling the other one. He should be.
Hey.
Should be.
Yeah. Patrick the Fireman says, I am sure a lot went into coordinating this Ike tournament, Fish with Ike, with social distancing deal, but thank you guys for doing it. Nice break from everything. My life is pretty much coronavirus updates and protocols. So he appreciates
Wow, cool. That's awesome.
all that stuff.
That's awesome.
That's all I got for now.
Cool. Pete, I had 2 other things, then we're going to take a little break. I wanted to talk about tournaments. Obviously, they're all, right now, everything's in limbo. MLF, FLW are, by their press release, are saying that things are postponed, right? Bass has postponed 3 or 4 events.
Mhm.
What do you see happening here with tournament fishing? Are these tournaments going to try to reschedule? Are these tournaments going to wash this year out and start over again next year? What do you see happening with tournament fishing?
Well, and that's a big question, right? And no, we can't possibly know because the virus is going to dictate everything, and how how we're able to treat it is going to dictate that. So my thinking is, and if I was in doing these tournaments, what I'd be doing is if we start to see a peak, if we start to see we get to the other side of this thing, maybe in May or June, that we're going to fish, right? Have a season still. We still have plenty of time. And I think the locations that want to have tournaments at their lake are going to continue to want to bring those tournaments to their lakes.
Right.
So, and I think the fishing community will be still wanting to see them. And, so I think if we can get to the other side of this thing in 30 or 60 days,
Yeah.
I think we're going to see tournaments just ramp back up and have at it.
Do you think we'll see you think we'll see a change on format of tournaments? Because when you look at the formats, Bass was always so good, really good at events, right? And bringing fish in and the fanfare and coming back to a weigh-in where you're in a weigh-in line. You're very close to the other anglers. You're near all these people. You've got fans. You've got media. MLF is the opposite. MLF has no fans at the event. It has no uh, weigh in. None of that. It's more of a solitary deal. Do you see all these other tournament organizations changing their format to MLF in light of what's happening?
You know, well, let me address it like this. MLF certainly has an advantage if they open the window and eliminate fans. Like where I was hearing some other sporting events talking about having sporting events but no fans.
Right.
As the first step to bringing their sport back.
Right.
And MLF is perfectly positioned. Hey, just open the door for us. We can go right now.
Yeah.
And I know all you guys want to go. I know all the anglers want to get out there. So they're in the best position from that perspective. But and if they let tournaments happen without having any fanfare, I think I don't know if Bass would change their format. I don't know. I think they would probably. I wouldn't change it. I mean, I think that they're wonderful in their uniqueness, and I wouldn't want to see them change it, with the exception of not allowing fans to attend.
Right.
But these are all big what ifs, Mike. Yeah. I mean, what if? We could be here till September and still dealing with this thing.
Yeah.
The cities pay Bass to be there for the fans. Mm-hmm. They want the commerce.
Yeah. So the more people that come, the better for the location.
Yeah, I mean that's why they bring the event there.
Yeah. MLF gets the same thing. MLF gets they work with cities as well, Brian. Even it's kind of a different model a little bit, but it has a lot of similarities because they're promoting that lake, and that by promoting that lake and the fishing, like that Lake Fork, which they just did. I mean, the Lake Fork's going to see a boom. Yeah.
So here's the second part of this question, Pete, and I and again, I don't want to, I just think this is a reality. When I cornered Glenn about, when we come out of this, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 9 months, how bad is it going to be? Is it going to be worse than that recession of 2008, 2009? Because you remember back then, the fishing industry was hurt bad. People were losing their jobs, pros were losing sponsorships.
Wawa Hoagie Lady says 120 days, and then we're back to normal. Everyone's living high on the hog.
Okay, there you go. Wawa Hoagie Lady, 120 days. Pete, the reality of this, and again, this is just what I think the facts are going to be, is a lot of pro anglers, quote unquote pro anglers, tournament guys, are going to be without the same endorsements they had. It's the reality of it. I hope I'm not, I know there's probably some guys watching, but when all this is said and done, and I'm susceptible to this too, but guys are going to lose sponsorships, guys are going to lose income from endorsements. It's going to happen. I'm telling you.
Some already have.
It's already happening. It's going to happen. It's going to be worse at the start of next year. What happens now, Pete, that there's all these leagues? You've got FLW Tour, FLW Toyota Series. You've got Major League Fishing. You've got BASS Elites. You've got this new circuit that started up.
National Professional Fishing League.
How the hell are these guys going to fill these slots with guys that don't have backing, endorsements?
Well, once again, it depends. This is unique. Like 2008 was different because it was slow. It was a very slow burn, both on the downswing and the uptick. And it took a long time for the economy to recover. The economy was crushing it leading up to this. Everything was clicking right along, and this is an extremely fast decline. We've got a tremendous amount of money getting influxed into all the companies right now. There's, they're able to support their employees. We've got at least like a 2-month lifeline. And if this ends quick, like Wawa Hoagie lady says, and we're back in 100 days, man, we're going to miss a step, but I think we're going to explode. I think you're going to see people so excited to get back to life and spend money and get out and do things that it's possible that that could be the reaction. Now, if it goes past that, if it goes into the fall and into where I've heard this can, might have, like the flu, it might increase in the fall. So we might see a surgence of this virus in the fall. And if we're still in this situation, then yeah, I mean, I think the whole face of fishing, the whole face of sport is going to be changed.
Yeah.
And they're claiming they're going to have football season right now. They're trying to just like Glenn said, we're going to have ICAST. They're going to try to have a football season that's going to start in August and September, and they're hopeful that can happen. But man, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We got
too many questions.
It's wait and see.
Yeah.
It's wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Brian, you want to take a break?
Yes.
Did you want to? Yeah, okay. Pete, we're going to take a break. Listen, everybody watching and listening right now, hang in there with us because we've got one more segment, and we did save the best for last because we're talking about all this COVID stuff. Nobody, I mean, it gets to a point where it's numbing. We're done talking about that. We're going to get Mark Daniels Jr. on the phone. Great guy, great, amazingly talented fisherman. We're going to talk to him about his recent event at Lake Fork. Great event down there. We're going to talk to him about his season, his life, his family. We're going to talk to him about everything. It's going to be a good interview. So hang in there with us. When we come back, Mark Daniels Jr. on a brand new Ike Live.
Hi. Today we're going chest to chest in the Dr. Squatch lather test. On that half of Mike's impressive chest, we're rubbing him down with 3 name brand bars. The result? A sad, milky film of disappointment. How's that feel, Mike? You see, Big Soap cuts corners and strips out all the sudsy goodness in order to make production cheaper. But not Dr. Squatch. Don't worry, Mike. Dr. Squatch soap retains all the natural ingredients, which creates a rich, foamy lather, leaving your skin healthy, soft, and clean. Ooh, looks like Squatch is taking over this peck party. How do you feel now, Mike? Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. When we say it lathers, it f***ing lathers. You deserve glorious lather. Take the lather challenge for yourself today.
4.5-inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh, is he in my pocket?
This time of year, I definitely recommend putting a little bit of this on your soft plastics too. There he is. Another one. Next cast. And that would be number 6. I'm addicted. I'll admit it. I'm straight addicted.
This might be bigger.
You think so?
Yeah. Feels bigger. I haven't even seen this thing yet. It doesn't want to come up. Don't break me off the rocks.
Oh, it's a... Oh!
27 incher.
He caught it.
28.
Oh my god, that's such a healthy fish. Look at this size. Put a little liquid mayhem on your crappie jig, and look where the stripers get it.
You can't even see it, man.
That might be a keeper.
Hi, today we're going chest to chest in the Dr. Squatch lather test. On that half of Mike's impressive chest, we're rubbing him down with 3 name brand bars. The result? A sad, milky film of disappointment. How's that feel, Mike? You see, Big Soap cuts corners and strips out all the sudsy goodness in order to make production cheaper. But not Dr. Squatch. Don't worry, Mike. Dr. Squatch soap retains all the natural ingredients, which creates a rich, foamy lather, leaving your skin healthy, soft, and clean. Ooh, looks like Squatch is taking over this peck party. How do you feel now, Mike?
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I know we are. Wanted to make a couple quick announcements here right before we get back. And first of all, want to let you know that Founders Beer of the Night, we're doing, of course, Solid Gold. We're also drinking the Green Zebra. And, a lot of questions about, a lot of people are stuck home. They're quarantined. They don't want to, you can't go to a bar, right? So there's limited options on where to get your beverages right now. I want to let you know that if you're a Founders Beer fan, like we are, you can go use the Founders app. Founders actually has an app. And on the Founders app, there's a way that you can put in your zip code and you can find out the establishments that are still selling and serving Founders. And a lot of these places, the great thing about it, a lot of these places, you can call ahead. You can get, say, a case of Solid Gold. You can pay for it. And then when you get there, they'll bring it out to you. They'll leave it on the curb. I've done that a few times since we've been in quarantine. So use the Founders app. You can find out exactly where to get your favorite Founders beer. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is want everybody, I don't care if you're religious or not, I want everybody to think about and keep in your prayers Aaron Martins. Aaron's a friend of all of ours, great friend of the show. I've known Aaron for my entire career, literally the beginning of my career. He's such a good guy. And he's dealing with some health issues right now. He's in the hospital. So I want everybody that's, a fan of Aaron, and I think that's everybody in the fishing world, keep Aaron in your prayers right now. He's definitely got some stuff he's gone through. So wanted to say that. And, of course, we've got Pete here joining us. He's at home. I saw Jake come into the screen and say hello there for a second. So, hey, Jake, what's up?
Hello.
How you doing? See?
Good, how are you?
Good. See, Pete, here's a benefit of being at home on the show is Jake gets to make an appearance on Ike Live. This is great.
It is really cool. He always comes up when I'm live. He's actually come up. I have this really cool Rapala. I have lures all over my desk. I've been working on stuff and doing some filming here. And as always, he takes my favorite lure and he moves it in his tackle box.
Yeah,
yes,
I want
DT
that.
Fat 1. Good bait, too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
He might even hang around for a MTB unboxing.
We
got one right here.
I like it. Oh, well, let's do it right now. Speaking of MTB unboxing, everybody watching and listening, you know that Ike Live is the only live podcast that does a real, not fake or set up MTB unboxing. And because of the restrictions and because of the quarantining, Pete, this is going to be a little different. We're going to open up different boxes at different locations, but the concept's the same.
Very
Pete,
cool.
I want you to open your box, have pick one out, have Jake pick one out, and I'm going to open up this one. And Brian even has his own box at the computer right now. So we all have our own boxes. We've got social distancing going on. So
Here it comes.
Pete, start. Why don't you and Jake start tonight? What do you got in your MTB box?
You want to start? Oh, Jake's already eyed his up. What do you got, Jake? What is that? Looks like a swim bait.
Yeah.
He's got a Savage Gear. It's a big bluegill swim bait, and it just, you open this box, it just jumps out at you.
Oh, a Savage lure?
Yeah.
Nice.
Get it up there. Look at that. Look at that baby. That's going to be it's going to be killer around the spawn.
That thing looks good.
And it's something you might want to throw, Mike, in these South Jersey ponds. Catch those big ones to win your contest.
Man,
But
I might have to.
I like this little Bagley's, man. Bagley's got it's kind of like a little mini jerk bait, a slender crankbait with a deep diving lip. Very unique little plug from Bagley's. I like it.
That looks good. Wow.
A lot of other good stuff. We got all kinds of crawls and great riot bait with a really cool tail. All kinds of. We got a jig here from V&M. The V&M jig. Look at that.
Wow.
Guggen baits. We got a drop shot bait from the Guggen boys.
Oh, Guggen bait in there. That's cool.
That's an awesome box.
Man, that
Jake,
box.
all of this is going in my tackle box.
Wow, that box is loaded. I want to give you a couple here on mine, and Pete, just like yours, my box is loaded. I see jig heads. I see a nice topwater popper. I've got some shaky heads. I've got a spinner bait. I've got a lot of cool stuff. But the two that I'm going to pick tonight, the one is an absolute classic right now. If you're a finesse fisherman, there's Z-Man Elastec Ned baits in here. The big TRD.
Oh, really?
The big TRD, which is cool because everybody thinks you got to throw a real little tiny, 2-3 inch Ned bait, and this is a bigger one. This is actually a 4-inch, almost a big soft stick bait size.
That big turd gets bit, bro.
Yeah, big
What
turd.
Color? What color you got?
The color's called Drew's Crawl, which is nice. It's a good looking bait. But Pete, here's the one that the highlight of my box is right here, and this is by Jenko Fishing, Jenko. So I saw this. Look, check this out. I saw this. It's a lipless vibration. Feels like it's about ½ ounce. And when I first saw it in the pack, I didn't understand because I'm like, man, they were cheap. They were so cheap they didn't put hooks on the thing. I'm like, it don't even have a split ring on it. And then I noticed it had a little Ziploc with a single treble and an O-ring on it. This is a through line.
It's a line through.
This is a line through lipless.
Nice.
That is dope, dude.
Yeah.
That is so dope. And the reason I'm crushing on this is I can think of a lot of times, smallmouth included, Pete. Think about the times this lipless gets the smallmouths going, but you lose a lot. You lose a ton, dude, because of the leverage of the bait.
Yeah, the leverage, yep.
Dude, this thing will get away from the hook.
Yeah.
I bet you'll keep a lot more fish pinned with that.
You don't have that split ring to bind up.
Right. This one is definitely going on my box right here, Pete.
Well, I got to make a comment because our next guest, both of your picks are tied to him. With the Z-Man bait, which he caught like 100 bass on that crawl in Texas. I got to talk to him about that. And but that lipless bait without the rear hook, he showed us a trick out of Bashu live or on the water, where he takes the rear hook off of his rattle trap and can crank right through treetops.
Wow.
Like you won't believe, lay down trees, and it's the most amazing thing, and it's all about eliminating that rear hook like that bait does that you just showed.
Right.
And just reels it right through a blowdown tree. You know how bad they are about hooking up.
Oh yeah.
You get anywhere near a piece of wood with a lipless bait, and you're getting hung up. But you take that rear hook off, and MDJ showed me how to work it. It's amazing.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Well, there you have it, everybody watching Again, another great testament to why a mystery tackle box is a great, great deal. Listen to me. All these examples. Look at a swim bait Pete had. Brian the Carpenter, of course, is holding the line through. These are baits that you might not necessarily think about or go buy yourself. Mystery Tackle Box puts them in your hand, gives you some latest, greatest, really cool stuff. So check them out. Mystery Tackle Box, great product. Brian the Carpenter, I'm ready for some MDJ, man.
Okay.
I'm ready for some MDJ. Pete, what do you think? I'm ready for some Mark, man.
Mark.
I am, man. I watched him fish down in Texas, and I dialed into his YouTube channel, and he did a real. I don't know if you see, he just released a new video of him fishing by his house in a creek.
I saw that. I saw it on social media. Yeah.
Yeah, what a cool deal that was, catching spots in next to no water, just a few miles from his house. It's pretty cool stuff he's doing out there. I'm looking forward to talking to him again.
Very, 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 very cool.
All right, Pete, you hang tight. Let me dial up MDJ. Mike, sing a song.
Pete, hang tight. It's another name for you. We've got a lot of them. Real quick, while we're waiting to get Mark on the line, want to let everybody know next Sunday happens to be Easter Sunday, Brian the Carpenter.
That is correct.
But the following Sunday, we're going to be back for another Ike Live. We'll get you some details here in the next week on show topics and guests. But definitely, now that we've got a little bit of a rhythm going on here.
Rhythm.
Rhythm. Brian the Carpenter and I have a little system going here. We're going to try to get you a lot of Ike Lives. We're going to try to get you one at least every week or every other week in the case of Easter Sunday. So keep your eye out for some great shows coming up here in the next month or so. Hi.
Pete is frozen.
Pete's frozen.
Yeah, look at him.
I like Pete Frozen.
Hold on, we're going to put him up.
Is that another name?
Yeah, Pete froze.
Now Pete Froze is another name.
Yeah, look at him.
I know.
You iced up, Pete.
Pete froze up, but he froze up in a good position.
There he is. There he is.
Oh, he's back. All right.
He's gunning.
Because I was going to say, how like sometimes you freeze up and you're in like an awkward, you know what I mean? Like like you've got a weird mouth or you're picking your nose or something.
Yeah.
But that was a good position for Pete. All right, let's get to it. We've got the highlight of the show for me. Not that Glenn wasn't, and obviously we had to talk about
important stuff.
I mean, what's going on in life and how it's affecting fishing. That was important. But this is the highlight of the show for me.
We're going to get crazy.
Friend of the show, had him on many times, the one and only Mark Daniels Jr. joining Ike Live.
Ooh, oh, Diamond Girl.
Yo.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Can y'all see me?
I can see you.
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Here we go. Okay. There we go.
All right.
I was looking at your feet.
You're looking at the feet. Okay. You have us now.
Looking at your feet. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. How you doing, Mark?
Good, man. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. All right, first question. It's been about 2 weeks since we all rolled home from Lake Fork. How's everything going?
Yeah.
How's the family? How's quarantine? How's all that stuff going for you?
Man, everything's going pretty good, man. I mean, as we all know, it's crazy times, man. It's absolutely crazy times. We're here safe and sound, the whole family, working on our social distancing. But man, as you know, it's hard to sit in the house, bro, and not go fishing.
Super
Weather's
hard.
nice, fish are spawning. I've been getting out there a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. Now we talked about that a lot in the early part of the show. There are a lot of people that are going fishing. They're practicing the right social distancing, but there are other people that think it's bad. They pretty much say guys shouldn't be fishing. Where do you fall on this?
Sure.
Where do you fall on this?
Man, I understand both sides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get it. However you want to view it, I get it. Personally, I think if you go fishing with yourself and or your immediate family who you're already social distancing with, I don't see that problematic. Now, You don't want to be hanging out,
Right.
tying up the pontoon boats, backflipping off the deck, et cetera, hanging out with your buddies.
Yeah.
But I think if you just keep an individual and or an immediate family thing,
Yeah.
I don't see it being bad.
Yeah.
As long as you're taking the proper precautions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Pete, you mentioned it earlier, and I want to get you talking a little bit about it, Mark. You know, the style of fishing, you know, is definitely more conducive now with everything that's going on to being by yourself, maybe being with one of your buddies. But you did post a video recently, which to me is the essence of fishing, right? It's getting back to why we all love this sport, right? Take the big boat out of the equation.
Right.
It's you against the fish. This video, you were stream fishing for spots. Talk a little bit about that, because I think the post was great, especially with everything that's gone on, man. It was a great post. It was a great video. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, thanks, Mike. First of all, I appreciate it. And thank you for checking it out, man. But, you know, I live here in Alabama. Of course, you know, from California, big time city kid. We don't have necessarily these same opportunities to creek fish. You could do a little stream fishing for trout and things like that. But, dude, there's a creek behind my house, literally like a half mile. I could walk there from my house. And I just always drove past it as a creek. You know what I mean? Like, just, oh, there's that creek. But my buddy had been telling me that there's bass in it. And he's like sending me pictures and this and that. And I'm like, there's no way you're catching these bass in this creek. And he's like, you know what? The weather's starting to get nice. Let's ease over there. We'll jump in the water. We'll walk through this creek, and I'll kind of, you know, show you how I've been doing this for years. I mean, he's grown up here.
Yeah.
He's been doing this entire life. So, but, you know, we took some precautions, of course, took 2 separate vehicles.
Yeah.
Made sure that we social distance as best as we could. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, we had one hell of a time, dude. And it literally brought me back to my childhood, man, which for me then was pond fishing.
Yeah.
But now it felt like that childhood experience again, but in a different environment in the creek. Man, and it was so cool. It was so basic, like you said, minus the fancy boats and all the equipment. Dude, I went with one rod, a pack of worms, some hooks, and some sinkers.
Awesome.
And man, had a hell of a day.
That's awesome. Pete, I know you loved it too.
I loved it. It was awesome, Mark. It was awesome watching, just watching you wade through that creek. And, you know, I got to say, though, your buddy was roughing it, man. You look like you were a little high maintenance with your boots and.
Hey, dude, I told you right off the rip. And most people that know me and they follow me on social media, they know one thing about me. I do not do cold, Pete. I don't do a mist. I don't do morning dew. I don't do none of that, right? I got to be a certain temperature at all times. So I duck hunt too in the wintertime. So with that being said, I'm like, dude, I'm going to bust out my duck hunt waders and be completely dry, completely warm, and then still have the same experience, man.
That's awesome.
Well, it was fun to watch. So guys got to go check it out on YouTube. But Mike, it relates to, you know, how you grew up trout fishing.
Oh yeah.
In the streams.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked just like what you were doing. How you had to anticipate the drift to get those fish, get in the undercut banks. I've done that so many times. I was right there with you.
No doubt, man. And that's what's so cool about all of us. You know, me and Mike, we fish professionally. Pete, you've been doing this a long time. I consider you a professional as well. But we all started somewhere. And these are the situations or the type of experiences that we fell in love with the game. This is where it all started. And this is what allowed us to hone our skills and become better anglers. But everybody can relate to this because you don't got to have a bass boat. You don't need a $100,000 rig. You don't need a truck.
Yeah.
You need a rod. You need a reel. You need a couple baits. And you need to just get outside and go do it.
And maybe a pair of duck boots if you're afraid of
you
cold.
You might need duck waders if you don't want to get cold like me.
Mark, I want to corner you on something, and then I want to talk about Major League Fishing. I saw a social post recently, and I can't remember the site. They'll probably kill me because I'm going to say this and not remember what site it was, but it was a pretty big fishing site, one of the websites, and they did a survey through social media on what angler would you like to fish with. And I don't know if you saw that or not, but you were in the top 5. I want to say you were like second or third. I think Jacob Wheeler was number 1 or number 2, and like you were right behind him. That's awesome because that says something about you. Not just that you're a good fisherman, but people like you. So that does say something about you.
That's right.
Yeah, Pete.
Not everybody, but
Pete, you were like
apparently.
69th on that list, by the way. That's pretty good.
Hey, what's your record doing it, Mike?
I think I was last on the list of the 300. Nobody wanted to fish with me.
yeah,
I was last. I was like 299. But I want to switch to MLF. Mark, you've had a lot of success with Major League Fishing, not just this year and not just the last tournament, but you've adapted well to this format and this style of fishing. Talk a little bit about that, because I know I get that question all the time. People are like, "Oh my God, how did you adjust? It's it's different. It's this, it's that." But you've done a really good job with it. Talk a little bit about fishing Major League Fishing and your success in the last couple years doing it.
Yeah, no, it's man, it was something initially I was scared about, man. I'll be honest. We all made that transition last or year before last. Man, I was really worried about it because all we know is catching 5, chasing 5 big ones. That's it.
Yeah.
Major League Fishing, they threw a twist in the game with the whole every fish counted situation, and it makes you practice different. It makes you strategize different. It makes you fish different. It's a different game.
Yeah.
And notice in the results, some guys adapted and some guys did not.
Yeah.
And some guys are continuing to adapt and adjust to it. For me, man, it was just getting out there with the mindset that I'm now the biggest thing is getting bit, in my opinion, now.
Yeah.
Well, before with the 1 pound, now with the 2 pound minimum, it's a lot more similar to catching 5 in some senses. But
yeah,
the difference with Major League Fish, the biggest difference between catching 5 and then every fish counts is you can never lay up and or feel comfortable or feel safe or feel content. You cannot do it. These boys are going to blast you. So having that in the back of my mind 24/7 is what pushes me to continue to adapt and make adjustments on the fly and try to stay ahead of the curve as far as getting that next bite.
Yeah.
And I think some guys just fall into their old traps, man. This is my comfort zone. This is what I like to do. I'm going to fish this way, whether it kills me or not. And I think it shows in some of the results that some guys just have not made that adaptation. And I feel like I caught wind of it and kind of switched up a little early.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've had gone on 2 good seasons now. And I think to be successful in that format, you have to fish fluidly. You have to be able to change and do something different. And you do that really well.
Yeah.
Speaking of, and I know this isn't Bash University, Pete. I don't want to take any thunder from BU, but I gotta talk a little bit about catching giants at Fork with a spinning rod. I love it because that pink floater, that methylate floater, Brian the Carpenter and I have been doing that since we were 12 years old. So I love it. I love it. I saw that after I was booted out and I got to watch you on the final day. I saw that and I'm like, God. I'm like, I didn't do that shit and I love it. You know what I mean? I'm like, God, why didn't I do that? Talk a little bit about that. How'd you find that? Is that something? I mean, it just seemed weird to a lot of people. You catching giants with a spinning rod at Fork. Talk about that.
Yeah, man. It's so crazy, Mike. You're very familiar with my home waters, California Delta.
Oh yeah.
And man, you know how we grow them out there. Very similar to Fork, dude. Big giant bass. And that methylate is just one of those techniques and baits that has caught giants forever, man.
Yeah.
All the old timers around my way coming up, that's always been in their game. That's always been in their arsenal in the springtime. You throw that methylate, or you throw bubble gum, or you throw school bus. A lot of old schoolers call it, which is just solid yellow.
Yellow.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
One of those in the spring, and you best hold on.
Yeah.
And so it's something I've always utilize, man. And when I got out here on tour, and there's so many new techniques that come about, we forget about the old school stuff that has been working from the beginning of time and that still works today.
Yeah.
And the floating worm is just that bait, man. And in the spring, from about, depending on where we're at in the country, a strong pre-spawn, I'll go water tip anywhere between 56 and about 75.
Yeah.
I got him on.
Yeah.
You can count on.
Yeah. Mid 50s to mid 70s. You got one in the box.
Yes, sir.
Wow. How
You
about
can count
that?
on.
Yeah.
That
I'd agree. I'd agree
was-
with that, Pete. I want to get your opinion, Pete, because I know you like the float worm too. But I think it's excellent for spawners. But dude, for fry garters, that thing is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, man. Pete, you like that
Yes.
thing too, don't you?
Oh man, well that's just an old school technique. I guess you'd call it old school. When I started using it, it was brand new.
Oh yeah, but that was when the original Woodstock. That was back when the original Woodstock came out.
That's back when they invented color.
Yeah.
How old are you, Pete?
I'm,
Jesus.
I'm 52, and when that shit came out, we were innovative, man. We were like trail. But it was really fun watching you do that and break out that technique, because a lot of guys were using, and this is curious to me, is like the stick bait, which is like taking over that market, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely dominated, but the stick bait did not perform nearly as well as you. And Ott did it too with he was using pink and kind of rigging it Nico style, but the two of you guys using that technique outperformed the stick bait. Why do you think that was?
Man, I said it from the beginning. I knew going in the fork, it was going to be a strong pre-spawn / spawn event. Now, in my opinion, a lot of guys get caught up at times looking at them. We all love to do it. Man, you see a 5-pounder in bed, it's hard to pass it up.
Yeah.
Get in there, power down, catch that sucker, right? I think what the floating worm does, different from the stick bait, where you're pitching that target, you sit and you wait, you twitch it a few times, you can cover 2 to 3 times the amount of water with a floating worm as you can flipping at targets, or I think there's a bed here, or I think there's a bed there. With that also said, the drawing power that worm has with the brightness, they'll come off that bed 6, 7, 8 foot and come get that thing.
Yeah,
it's a reaction bite.
So that's why I think it does.
Yeah.
Well, I watched you in that cove, and it was a cove as big as my office right here. And it was insane. And you were saying it like every lap you made, there was like new fish coming in, and they just kept coming and coming and coming. And it was amazing to watch you do that and react to it. And you had a couple guys kind of get close and seemed like they wanted to get in there on you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Lake Fork, man. That was my first time there, actually, but I had heard that prior. I mean, it's a destination place, man. It's one of the best fisheries we got in this country, hands down. And that's the time you want to be there. Not to mention it was spring break, so it was lit, as we say. It was lit, man. There was people everywhere you looked, and the reason it's so funny the way it happened. I kind of recognized some new fish coming into the area, but one of the reasons that made me stay in there was I could look right out behind me. There was 5 boats out there. So I said, no sooner I leave here, it's over,
Yeah.
So it caught me to another lap, and then I'd catch 2 more. And so I'm like, and it just the light bulb went off.
It's crazy. It's crazy
Well,
the amount of fish in that place. The power of that bait, by the way, the very next week, the tournament on Lake Martin was won with the same bait. So
how about it?
You go from Lake Fork, which is southern impoundment, stained water, go to crystal clear Lake Martin and spotted bass and largemouth, and it wins there too. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Well, I got a quick comment. I think this came through on our YouTube. Aaron Daniels has a trivia question for you, MDJ.
Let's see it.
All right.
Let me
Pete's
hear it.
first tournament.
Let me hear it.
True or false? True or false? Pete's first tournament, he was co-angler on the Ark.
I'd say that's
Gotta be
true.
No, it's
Wow.
it's actually false. I was a boater back then.
I knew your name wasn't Pete. It's Moses.
I know. I'm starting to look a little like Noah with this snow.
Yeah. All right, Mark. I did want to say this too, real quick. My best part of your tournament at Lake Fork, and I'm being totally honest here. It wasn't a fish you caught, dude. It wasn't a big one that you caught. It wasn't any of that. It was when I watched live, like I'm sure a lot of people did on the last day, and they had a camera on you live after you knew Ott won, and dude, I'm trying to put this the right way because I have the hardest time doing that, right? Like I'm a competitor, and it's not that I don't dislike when the guy that wins and I don't win, but I'm a bit of a sore loser, not just because I'm very competitive, and it's hard for me to like be humble. And what I don't remember exactly what you said, but I heard it and I'm like, God, I wish I was like that. Like I honestly, you were saying it and I'm like, I wish I was more like that because it's true. Like you worked your ass off, you did everything you could do, you wouldn't have did anything different, and you were happy for Ott. And you were dude, it was like you weren't even phased. And I like was watching that and I'm like, God, I'm jealous because I wish I could be humble like that more. You know, when I get home like the next day after it like wears off, like I'm like I feel like that. But when it's going down, I'm like more mad than anything. But what I saw you do was awesome. And I wanted to say that because I wish I could be more like that. I really do.
Well, dude, thank you, Ike, first of all. But secondly, don't be mistaken either. It hurt really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
You know, it did. It really hurt. I love Ott Defoe. He's an amazing guy. Obviously, one hell of a fisherman. And man, I love Ott, dude. So to see him win does not, and I feel great for him. But under those circumstances, when you are in position to win, which myself, Pete, yourself, and a lot of the viewers watching that are competitors, you do not get in that position often, and it is very hard to close the deal.
It's hard,
and that would hurt far more than watching Ott win. But to see him do what he did, and that was just sheer amazing for one. To see him do that, that's what it's all about, man. That's what that's what drives this industry. That's what people want to see. That's the oh my God, this is going down, and that's the uncomfortness of Major League Fishing when you're absolutely never safe. You know, so it sucked really bad to get whooped like that, to be quite honest. But man, when you get beat by 35 pounds in like 25 minutes or whatever it was, I could do nothing. Hat off to him, dude. That was just what you gonna do? Hat off, dude. Great job.
It was wild to watch because it was one of those things where you just couldn't stop it, you know. And when you're going to win, you just win, and stuff like that happens. It's happened to me once in a while over the last 30 years, but it was incredible to watch it. You know, just crazy. Let me ask you this, Mark.
Let me say something, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
I mean, you know, it's great that you were humble, and I love Ott too, and it was the most amazing thing that one of the most amazing comebacks that I've ever seen in tournaments. I'm pissed. That tournament stays on Lake Fork. You win that tournament.
I'm not gonna go that far, man. I ain't gonna go that far. Yeah, I was really feeling Lake Fork. Things were certainly working out for me over there. With that being said, and I can speak to this firsthand, dude, that lake was changing, felt like by the minute. And, you know, I was trying to adjust on the fly as best as I could, which I ended up winning my round. So we did enough. but I felt like my bite was leaving me. And I'm just going to be completely transparent and open. Now, sure, I could have ran into some other areas similar or areas where I had bites, and Lord knows what was there, right? But the exact areas that I had going those 2 days, that was on a downhill trend. I would have had to expand out and figure something else out. And that's just me being honest. With that being said, the area, that magical area I found, I had one bite in there in practice. So, I mean, we all know how that can go. Absolutely. So, I don't know. I love Lake Fork. I'd love to get back over there and do it again. There's no doubt, but man, it was not meant to be, man. It was meant for Octafo to win that event, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, it was amazing, and I watched it. I watched Dot, just unload on them, and you probably can't buy a DT10 right now because of that.
That's right.
And you can't buy a methalate floating worm. And when are we going to see this Z-Man crawl that caught like 20 bass for you that day?
No doubt, man. I got a quick story. I want to give a shout out to my buddy, man, out of Georgia, Derek Yazinski. Duck hunt with him in off season, man, and he fishes opens and coasters and things like that. Good buddy of mine's, and he made this crawl, and he came up with the whole idea. I pitched it to Z-Man just to kind of see, what they thought about it. Obviously, they thought it was a good bait to try to run some prototypes on, and so I had Derek send a mold down to him, a one-shot mold. So as you can only shoot one bait at a time. They literally poured up 4 of these baits, sent them to me the day before I leave for Lake Fork. Okay. So here I roll into Lake Fork. I got 4 craws. Really, I'm not using these things because it's, I'm practicing for a tournament. There's a lot going on. Well, the day that, practice kind of progresses, and I'm like, let me just try one, just to kind of see what's up. And I look at it and I'm like, dude, the action's amazing. Obviously the buoyancy, all the elastic plastic. I mean, the buoyancy's perfect. It's beautiful. So I'm like pitching it around, and lo and behold, I catch like 3 fish on it in practice, and I got 4 of these things. I'm like, all right, we'll mess around, and it ended up being that bait. I mean, they were eating it up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
it was crazy.
Cool.
And so when it was all said and done, I caught, I don't remember how many bass I caught on it, but I think I ended up getting down to just one of them, and I caught 17 bass on one crawl before it was completely toast and I couldn't use them.
That's awesome. It was Elastic, I'm assuming.
Elastic, exactly.
Yes,
that stuff, dude.
Has to be
indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So what is that? The MDJ Lake Fork Special? What are we calling that thing?
It's crazy. I was referring to it on live and on my YouTube channel and everywhere else so many times as this prototype crawl. I made a joke on my channel. I was like, dude, I think we're gonna have to call this thing the prototype. I mean, I said it so many different times. I'm like, that's all people know of it. We don't have a name or nothing for it.
Wow.
Dude, I love that name. I love that name. You should use it.
It's a good name.
It is a good name. How many people have said that over the years?
I can look at one of them.
Yeah.
Said it a lot.
I've said it a bunch for sure. Mark, I want to switch gears and just talk about bring the current situation back into this conversation a little bit. With regard to our postponement of our events, right? BASS announced postponements as FLW did, and of course Major League Fishing postponing Raleigh Durham, North Carolina, and then most recently Grand Lake. First of all, is it tough for you with this postponement just because of the sheer momentum you've had? This year you've had a few really good events coming off a fork with almost a win there. Is it tougher for you with these postponements because of the momentum that you've had?
Yeah, I'd say from a fishing perspective, yeah. Obviously, momentum's a big deal, man. You know that, Ike.
Yeah.
And coming off of a good finish, the old saying, "You're only good as your last tournament." You know what I mean? Coming off of a good tournament, positive vibes, like you said, almost closing the deal. a lot of great things happening your way. You want to hurry up and get to the next event. Let's fish, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, that's the mindset. Uh, with that being said, man, the current situation is so crazy. You know, I just think, you know, Major League Fishing and the other organizations, Bass, FLW, are making the right decision on postponing everything. But if I had my druthers, man, yeah, I'd love to keep the ball rolling, man.
Right.
You know, but Lord knows when I get the cast again in a tournament, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Pete and I we were talking about it. It's hard to predict. It's hard to sit back here, right, and say, you know, best case scenario was probably June. You know, worst case scenario, who knows? You know, could be into the fall or later.
Right.
What
the whole season of it? You don't know.
The whole season. What should happen?
No.
In your opinion, Mark, what should happen if we get the green light to go back and fish, let's say in early September? What should happen? Should we try to make up events? Should we pick up where we left off? Or should we wash it and start again next year? What do you see happening? What do you think should happen?
Man, that's a tough one. That's a really tough question. Just because you got so much that has kind of started. So you got Ott leading Angler of the Year, right? Yeah. And I think he's also leading heavy hitters.
Yeah.
You got so many, you know, I'm sitting in 15th in the points. Like, you got so many things that have kind of already started that you kind of need to finish that. But then you got to consider timing of the year. You got the fall coming up, and that's holiday season, and that's really tough. Everybody wants to be with their families and traveling and things like that.
Yeah.
And then just the uncertainty of what this virus is going to do, man.
Right.
That throws a whole nother and everything. But I personally, if we get the green light to fish in the fall, I'd like to try to not necessarily finish out all of our scheduled events, because I don't think we could jam them all in there, because then we got cup events as well, etc. But I think we should definitely try to squeeze as many in that are feasible, and try to put some sort of closure to the season.
Right. So make you know, don't take the 3 events that we had and just throw them away. Actually, try to put something together. I think that's a good one. You know, it's tough because people work so hard to get where they're at. You hate to just throw that away and not reward that. You know, so I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Pete, what do you think, Pete?
Well, I think that's right. Wait and see, and I think if they get the opportunity, they should have as many tournaments as they could. Right. But I gotta say, I was watching another one of your, and this goes back to this conversation about what we're dealing with, Mike. Is you're on Lake Martin, and you put your boat in the water, and you were like, man, it's like a crowded summer day. It's mobbed on Lake Martin. Dude, under these conditions.
Yeah, it was, dude. We launched, dude, and just to go mess around and try to catch some crappie, and weather was beautiful. And granted, it was a Saturday, but I think I can quote myself here. I said it's like spring break Daytona Beach out here. That's how it looked, dude. Right there at the launch, there's boats, pontoon boats, party boats, jet skis, skier boats, and I'm like, geez, which. Throw me in that bunch, because I'm out there too, right? You know what I mean? So I'm not exempt, but I thought it would be a lot less low key. And I think a lot of people have that same mindset. And so they go, hey, let's go to the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that all being said, I did not see what I've seen like on the news and on the internet, where like you got people tied up, like, you know, block party style, partying out on the lake type situations. I did not see any of that, but there's certainly a lot of boat traffic on the lake, no doubt.
Right. Well, I know I talked with some guys out at Table Rock, Ike, and they were talking about like the exact same thing that you were talking about that you saw at Lake Martin. This was like maybe 2 weeks ago, and the pontoon boats were packed. They were having a party scene out there. So, you know, I think that's one of the problems we're dealing with, because fishermen, the act of fishing is good for this. You know, it's social isolating.
Sure.
But you know, we're all boaters together, so somehow we've got to educate the pleasure boaters that they've got to do the same thing, in order for us to keep using these lakes.
Yeah, I think if the trend continues of everybody, we're under quarantine. What the hell? Let's go party at the lake. I think you'll see government those just completely start shutting down launch ramps and facilities, and you just won't even be able to go to the lake, man. You have to hit the creek. You have to go wade the creek.
Gotta go old school.
Dude, I'm coming. I was wanting to be on that fishing trip with you so bad.
Dude, listen, we got a spot for you, Pete, whenever you're ready. I know it's probably a little chilly up there where you at, so slide on down south, man. We take good care of you.
Here's what you do.
I'm in. As soon as they let us travel, I'm in.
All right, Pete and Mark,
That's
here's
right.
what you do. Pete, you get down to see Mark. You got to follow the social distancing. So they're going to get a rope about 20 foot long and get an old truck inner tube tire. They're going to fill that John up, and they're going to float your ass behind them. You're just going to be wading in the back in the current. Now, you're going to get sloppy thirds on everything, but it's okay.
Hey, you'll be there, though.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy to take thirds. That'd be
hilarious,
fun.
Man. Absolutely
but
hilarious.
We're talking with Glenn from the ASA, and he's wanting everybody to go out and buy, continue to purchase, continue to, it's a great time to restock your tackle. But this SB 57 crank, it's a great time to get you a set of those.
Hey, it's always a good time to grab you some of them. Anything Bill Lewis, though, man. I mean, hey, I know everybody got some traps already, but you might as well just add the SB to the arsenal, man. It's a little crankbait I'm proud of, man. I'm really happy they gave me the opportunity to move forward with that, man.
Was that cool. Fun process, like going through the design process?
I love it, man, because I when it's all said and done, ultimately you're the deciding factor on, yes, I like this. No, I don't like that. Why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? Let's fix this. Let's fix that. And so the tinkering process for me is very meticulous because I try to be somewhat of a perfectionist. If I'm gonna put my name on it, man, I just gotta feel 100% right about it. You know what I mean? And so that bait I worked on for over a year. And we had already had a square bill, a 1.75, which is an amazing crankbait, but it's a niche crankbait. It does a certain thing. I wanted a everyday, no matter what the situation, square bill crankbait. Pick up and just roll, cover water with, bang on rod, whatever. And so getting that bait just right was a very timely process, man. But I feel like we hit a home run, man, and I'm really happy the way it turned out.
Well, it looks good. I know we did a little square bill cranking when you were up here on the Delaware River.
Right.
And
yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a long time ago now. Jeez.
I know, dude. Hey, time flies, man. That was in I think 2016, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5 years ago. It might have been in 16.
Was it that long?
Yeah,
I think so.
Mike, we were out in Dredge. Yeah, we were out in Dredge Harbor, and you broke out that real shallow, rattle trap square bill and just lit them up in Dredge Harbor.
That's it, man. That was the 1.75. Yeah, the Echo.
Yeah,
that was it, man. That was fun times, dude. That was of course, I grew up on tidal fishery, so it has some similarities to the Delta, but that place is totally different from the Delta. But totally cool in its own regard, man. That was a fun day.
Yeah, you left that crankbait with me. I still catch fish on that thing from time to time.
I did. See, I was looking. I'll look out for you, Pete. I'll make sure. Man.
Forgot to leave me one.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. They don't always look out for me on this show.
Yeah, gotta stay on top of them boys, man. Make sure they get you straight.
No doubt.
All right, Mark, I've got one more question for you, and it deals with a little bit of the same topic, which is a lot of pros right now are out of work, quote unquote, out of work because there are no tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
What? Give these guys some advice, because I know there's a lot of guys watching right now, not just top tour guys, but we've got guys watching and listening that fish Toyota Series, that fish, opens, and they don't know what to do. They're out of work because they think all their job is just to tournament fish. What does a guy need to do now with no tournaments going on? What does a guy need to do now to fill his obligations with his sponsors? What does he need to do to keep working, keep getting publicity, keep branding himself? What should these guys be doing right now?
That's a great topic, Mike. And I'm glad you brought that up. I get hit up almost on a daily basis on social media about that exact question, which really coincides with the question of how do I become a pro fisherman, right? I always tell people, upcoming anglers, and even our peers, man, it's so crazy. There's two tournaments going on, okay, at all times. There's two events going on. You got the competitive side, whichever tour you're fishing, Bassmaster Elite Series, Major League Fishing, FLW Tour, Toyota Series, Bass Opens, TBF. I don't care what you're fishing. You got that tour, right? Then you have the off the water tournament, okay, which is all upon yourself, no one else's job but your own to self-market and promote your own brand. And that includes all the social media platforms. And I think a lot of guys don't take advantage of that enough because they feel like, hey, look at me, I'm out here competing, I'm doing my job, you know, I should be okay. You know, there's a lot of you know, entitlement there from anglers. But I look at guys who are the best in the business, and when I say that, I'm talking all aspects, winning both tournaments, right? I'll put you at the very top of that list, Mike. Yourself and guys like Scott Martin, you know, you guys killed the game, bro. And I'm just going to be completely honest. And you set the example and you set the stage for what guys like myself coming up and even younger than me, these high schoolers, etc. This is what you need to do, bro. You kill it on social media. You kill it on, you know, TV shows, Ike Live. You got the charity, the Ike Foundation. Dude, you're everywhere, right? And that's what makes you very successful to where when something like this happens, you know, sure, we're not competing right now, but Mike Iaconelli's busy doing something. Here I am on your podcast right now, Ike Live. You are in the game, and you have to be in the game at all times, whether you're on the water or not, and you'll be successful. So with that being said, I'm working hard, branding myself, doing a lot of YouTube videos. I'm on Instagram every day. I'm on Facebook, and I'm commenting, engaging, interacting with my fan base just because I know this is what works, this is what sells, and this is what longevity is going to be for an angler. And especially right now in these uncertain times, man, it's a big deal.
I love that analogy. 2 tournaments every time you fish, Pete. That's an awesome way to say it. And you know, what's happening right now is it has, I think, woken a lot of people up to the fact that it's not just tournament fishing. You gotta be conscious of the other stuff. So, great points, Mark, and I appreciate the comments too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, appreciate
that's
it.
That's just real talk, man, and that's the only way I know how to do it, man. But I mean, there's several other guys I left out of that, but you truly are one of the best at it, Mike, no doubt. And I ain't just trying to fluff you up because I'm on your show. That's coming from the heart, bro.
I appreciate that. I really do. Well, Mark, I'll tell you this. I appreciate you coming on the show. I liked having you in studio better, but with the virus and with confinement and all that shit, I'll take this. This is pretty good too. So,
no doubt, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And
I'm excited to be there.
Yeah, we're gonna get through it. I know we will. We're gonna get through this. We'll be back tournament fishing, hopefully sooner than later, and you'll pick right back up where you left off, and your momentum will just stay the same. I know it will. So, great tournament at Fork, Mark, and want you to stay safe and keep the family safe. And we'll definitely talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. One last thing, Mike, before I run, dude. Two things real quick.
Hit me.
One, my boy will make sure to tell you what's up. You and Pete, Brian, everybody. Mr. Rippin' Lips, my boy.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
And then secondly, man, I had to make sure I brought this up because it's heavy on my heart and it's heavy on the fishing community. And I'm sure you guys have brought it up at some point, but our good buddy Aaron Martins, man, is in the hospital, of course, as we all know. And man, what that dude means to me as a competitor and where I come from the West Coast, and just meeting him at 14 years old and how inspiring he was for myself. Man, I'd be less of a man if I didn't get on here, man, and tell his family that we're thinking about him and praying for him, man. And hopefully he has a very well recovery. So I just wanted to leave.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought it up again. We did mention earlier, but what you said, and I want to stress this too, because Brian and I talked about it earlier, not just the guys from the West Coast, but I think if you're in the fishing game, if you love fishing, then you feel a connection to Aaron. And I said this to Brian in the earlier when we were talking on the phone. Not that I don't wish bad on anybody. And, you know, what Aaron's gone through, I don't wish that on anybody in the world. But, dude, when it happens to a guy like that, it hurts even worse. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to be the nicest dude on tour. He's got to be. He's got to be the nicest guy on tour. And it hurts, you know?
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you bringing that up. And everybody, please, if you're watching and listening, keep Aaron in your prayers and his family in your prayers. He'll get through it. Aaron's a fighter, man. I have a feeling he'll get through all this. So
I feel the same way, man. I think he's gonna come out shining bright on the other end, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too. Mark, we appreciate you coming on the show. Stay safe, please.
Oh, thank you, man. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys, Pete. B Carpenter. Y'all boys be good, man.
See you, buddy.
MDJ, everybody. Yes.
Keep that inner tube handy. I'm coming.
Love it.
I got you, Pete. Got you, brother. All right, guys.
Oh,
See
man. Pete, you still there? I hear you.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening to you talking. I'm looking at the Dr. Squatch logo.
Squash. Dr. Squash.
Dr. Squash.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this, Mike.
Hit me.
Because I'm coming in on the outside and I'm hearing about Aaron for the first time. I know a lot of people listening are probably hearing about it for the first time right now too. Do you have any details that you can share on that, or you're going to share on that? Or
I don't have a lot of details. I just know that he's in the hospital. I know that he's undergoing a procedure. I think tomorrow morning. And you know, I know that it's pretty serious. That's the only thing I know. You know, this isn't like you know, outpatient surgery where you get to go home the next day. It's something pretty serious, and you know, with everything that's gone on too, it's even more serious, because I did hear that like they're not even like, because of this whole virus thing, you know, like letting Leslie in the hospital and all that, like it's not even normal to that extent, you know.
She can't be with him.
Right, she can't be with him, you know. So it's a tough time.
Yeah.
You know. So we're
super tough time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about you, Aaron and Leslie, and prayers coming from the Gluzak house, man. I wish you all the best. That's got to be a terrible time. I know the people that are dealing with the coronavirus are dealing with the same problem as they're texting and calling their loved ones, you know, 'cause that's all they can do.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
tough
stories, moments, nights, and Eric the intern was with me. Eric, Luke Duncan, iCast 2 years ago. We ran into Aaron out, you know, after hours.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
We had such a good night. Sat at the whatever bar we were at, and Aaron just telling stories about growing up in California, and the big house, the mansion up on the hill where all the porn was filmed. That from Aaron's development, they could see that house. It was this mansion, this giant house, and it was always brightly lit at nighttime. And he's like, "Yeah, we could." But the way Aaron would tell the stories,
man,
one of my favorite. And Eric say the same. It's like that was like bucket list, you know, getting to hang with him and just listen to him Tell
Dude, I
some
love
stories.
I love the way Aaron would tell stories, Pete, or even teach with us at the university, because he's very like he just fluid. Like if he thinks it, he says it.
Yes.
You know,
Coming
and
in.
there's
Yeah.
this honesty to that you love.
Yeah.
You know, like even when he's instructed, he could be talking about a jerk bait, a rip bait. But then all of a sudden he thinks something else, and then he's talking about a drop shot. But and if it was anybody else, you would be mad. You'd be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? But you don't feel like
It's
that.
the process.
You're like, this is awesome because you're getting to be in his head.
You're in his head.
And it was just always so great to hear his stories and the way he would teach. You know?
No doubt.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And I remember he would look at Bill Dakota. Shout out to Bill Dakota. And he'd be like, where was I?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Bill would have to bring him back to where he left off.
Yeah. Wow.
And he's a treat. He's a treat to be around.
No doubt.
He always has. He makes you feel special. He makes you feel warm. You know, anybody that has been in his presence, he's a special guy that way. And,
Yeah.
he's a lot of fun to be around. Hope to be around him again real soon.
He's a good dude.
And by the way, we had a great time with him at the Classic. We had, for anybody that's listening that didn't go back and check out our Classic content, we did a end of the day interview. I had Ott Defoe, Aaron Martins, JT Kenny, and Fat Cat Newton.
Wow. What a motley crew
What a
that
motley
is.
crew, all lined up at the Ike Live boat. Everybody had headsets and microphones.
Yeah.
And they were just talking, and then
Yeah.
you came over. You got done from
Yeah.
your autograph
I got to sit
line,
in. I got to sit in on it
and
for a
you
little
got to
bit.
jump
yeah.
in on that.
That was fun.
Oh, dude, it was so much fun.
That was
it was
great.
Just flowing.
That was great.
It was a good one.
That
It
was
a
a good
real
one.
good one.
That was a good one. Well, Pete, this is, and I said it to MDJ. I say it to you too. This isn't ideal. This isn't, normal. But felt nice to get on here and, get. It felt like you were sitting next to me, even though you weren't. It was good. It was good to be back with you here on Ike Live. I appreciate you coming on. And I told Brian next Sunday's Easter Sunday, but the following Sunday we're going to shoot for another show, and we'll keep you in the loop. And we'll just try to keep them going, try to maintain a little normality in this unnormal world right now,
I think it's great, and I think it's great we're able to do this. And little tip to my hat for BTC, dealing with a little trouble tonight, getting us back up and running.
Brian Carpenter dealing with
pulling
some
it off all
troubleshooting.
by yourself.
Yeah. I'm not clapping. Thank you, Pete, but still got some things to work out. So.
Well, I look forward to the next show, man. Let's keep talking to everybody, and I'm going to keep fishing, and I know you are too. So let's tell some more fish stories in a couple weeks.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, me and Mike fished today.
We did.
Oh yeah,
we did. We gonna talk about that real quick?
Oh sure, we can talk about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So did we already talk about it?
I think we mentioned it, but we didn't get into it.
Yeah, we didn't really get into it.
Yeah. No, we kayak fished today. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. We hit some uncharted territory down in South Jersey.
Yeah, and
Undisclosed water.
undisclosed, uncharted.
Undisclosed location, baby.
Yeah, undisclosed. And so the first place and it's like our old intern, our boy Eric does at Uncle Larry's, where they just it's all Google Earth and looking for spots, and this is one of them things. Place
fun,
I've never
dude.
been, never heard of. The body of water don't even have a name. Nothing I could find.
Yeah.
And so we went and checked it out, and the first place was a miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We put the kayaks in and paddled all over that mug, found the best possible looking spot. There weren't fish on it. They ain't there.
We bailed.
They
We
ain't
bailed.
There
Yeah.
were mullet jumping.
Yeah.
So we went and pulled up, went somewhere else, and got into them until some conditions changed, and so we learned something about that body of water.
Yeah.
Mike caught 4 on a swim jig before I even got one tied on, and then it was over.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It was good. Honestly, it was great to get out. Pete, part of it is just with, the confinement and everybody's sort of stuck in their house right now.
Yeah.
It felt so nice to be in a kayak,
yeah.
pedaling. You know what I mean? Like, had I not caught anything, It was nice to be outside.
Yeah.
These places we fished,
Yeah.
we didn't see. We saw one other person that was bank fishing. It was
True.
just us outside. It was awesome. It's what people should be doing right now. You know.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
And coming this week, we're looking to do some more of it.
We
got
may.
another- we got
We
another
may.
spot.
Yes. Got another couple ideas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
It's going to be good.
Oh, that's so much fun. I mean, to me, that exploration, that visiting those places, and you know, it's going to a brand new body of water, man. It's what inspires you to fish. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's
That
awesome.
Rush.
Of course, you did drive past, according to
Oh.
James Riley, a lake that's really on fire right now.
The Riley report.
The Riley report.
Tell James we make our own reports. We don't follow them. No offense to James. I know where he was and what he's doing, and he's doing it. But I'm more interested in finding my own,
Secrets.
not catching his.
Threats.
It's
Yeah.
all good.
All right, Pete. Thank you for coming on tonight. We'll talk to you. I'll talk to you this week. I know we got some stuff coming up.
Yep.
You want me to announce real quick before you get off? Is it official? Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Is that still on?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh my gosh.
All right, let me announce that. Everybody watching right now, if you're watching live, tomorrow at 4 p.m., join me. I'm going to be doing an hour live tied in with the Bass University. We're going to be out on the water fishing. It's going to be a great segment. We're really going to just fish the moment. I'm going to literally start the live with nothing except just a bunch of rods on the deck. So definitely follow me. You can follow me on my Facebook, Mike Iaconelli, or, of course, the Bass University Facebook page. And, Pete, they'll be able to watch in live with us for a full hour.
Woo. Awesome. Looking forward to it. It's homeschooling tomorrow afternoon.
Homeschooling.
Homeschooling.
There you go. Yes, sir. Thank you, Pete.
I'll be watching. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Mike.
All right, stay safe.
You too. You too, guys.
All right, we'll do. All right, there you have it, everybody. Pete Glusick. What a show. I mean, as good as it can get during these strange, weird, uncertain times. Want to thank our sponsors once again: Mystery Tackle Box, Founders Beer, Bass University, TH Marine, Dr. Squatch, Liquid Mayhem, Flambeau, and want to thank you for your support of the show. Brian, thank you for producing it.
And Torquedo. Did you say?
And Torquedo. I don't know. I'm reading off this list so fast.
I want to thank Torquedo, but
I
yes.
want to thank Torquedo. Yeah, little strange. We had to keep our little space over here, but
Yeah,
it worked.
yeah.
It worked. They'll get better as they go on.
Yeah,
We'll-
usually when I see it's been a few weeks or a month or whatever,
Yeah.
we do that bro hug thing.
Yeah, no more bro hugs. No,
Nah.
just like
I was-
air
Yeah.
elbows,
It's like-
air fists. That's it.
I see you over there, bro. But I feel like hugs are going to be pretty amazing when this is all over.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. A lot of stuff's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Lot
shout
of
out to Glenn Hughes, man.
Shout out to Glenn, definitely.
Really appreciate what those guys are doing.
Yes.
You know, lobbying for the rights of the fishermen.
Yes, very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Shout out to Mark Daniels Jr.
One of my favorites.
Awesome guy. Really, really great guy. Great fisherman, but a better guy.
Great human.
Great human being. And thank you for tuning in tonight and watching and listening. Brian mentioned earlier, but if you want to catch up on old episodes, a lot of ways to do it. If you got extra time in your hands right now, go to IkeLive.com. You could also go to iTunes. You can go to Stitcher. If you're over there at iTunes, leave us a positive comment if you like what you're hearing.
Dude, the interview with Matt Robertson on him and Alabama guy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
The guy from the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Go back and check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Is it ridiculous?
Yeah.
I didn't go back and watch that one yet.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I got to
dude.
see that one.
Yeah, you lived it.
Yeah,
That
I
guy
did.
was amazing.
Oh, that was amazing.
He's
he was very, very Alabama. Thank you guys for watching. Keep your eye out. We're going to be posting the next date, and we'll get some great guests lined up for the next show.
Yeah.
Have a good night, and most of all, stay safe. Good night, everybody.
You good, man? You know we're doing a video right now, right? I'm about to go down there and tackle that dude. Hey! Hey there, official world. What's shaking, fat cat dude coming at you? Listen, let's talk about something very important. And I'm not talking about Jack and Jaws Ripping Lips 2455 and Big Belly Kelly out of a brush pile. I found Primal Urge Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, what Primal Urge Foods is, It is a monthly meat stick box. Every month you get a box of meat sticks to your door. Retail is probably, I don't know, $30, $40, $14.95 a month. Now you can pick many different varieties. You can pick a surprise box. You get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that. You get some 24.55 divided by 4. No, we don't like antibiotics. No antibiotics. And these right here, completely eagle free. Now the gas stations meat sticks you buy probably have eagle in them. They have rhinoceros in them, but we are Americans. America! We're not eating bald eagles in our meat sticks. Guaranteed, none of these meat sticks have bald eagle in them. That is the #1 reason to buy these meat sticks. You want to get granddaddy a gift? Hey, you're dating a girl. Ooh, she fine as muscadine wine. And you want to warm up her hair. I'm getting excited talking about women. I forget what it's. Primal Urge, $14.95 a month. Monthly meat box subscription. It could be called a bombs box of meat sticks. You just do like I do, and every month the box shows up, and I don't know what's going to be in it, but they're all delicious. The meat right there. That is, I tell you what, that's something going right there. It's girthy. It's Fat Cat Newton, Primal Urge Foods. Please, Ike Live is the code, guys. Ike Live. Ike Live is the code. Okay? Primal Urge Foods, Ike Live is the code. It gets you $5 off a box. Okay?
4.5-inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. It's 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016, featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals, zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh, is he in my pocket?
Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. I love fishing this time of the year. It's cold, it's winter, it's snowing. But if you want to prevent the buildup of ice, use Real Snot. Every time I'm fishing this time of the year, I put a couple squirts on all my guides, especially the tip, before I start casting. Try that tip when you're fishing under these cold conditions, and you're going to catch more fish. See you later.
There's a special place in our hearts for the tools of the trade. They're what we prep for a good day on the water. They're what we clean after a good day in the field. Flambeau's patented Z-Rust technology protects the gear of today from rust and corrosion. Z-Rust, for the performance of tomorrow. Preserve, perform, repeat.
You work hard to catch your fish. TH Marine has 2 products to ensure your fish survive. The Oxygenator injects 100% pure oxygen into your live well. That increases fish survival by 35%. For the perfect combo, add G-Juice Live Well treatment. It calms fish, stops bleeding, removes ammonia, and replaces slime coat. Get an Oxygenator and G-Juice and keep your fish alive.